Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, February 23rd, 2026. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well, it was a crazy weekend. It was a crazy weekend indeed. And if it wasn't for the U.S. men's hockey team, I don't know where morale would be today, quite frankly. I think morale, without that victory, would be pretty low today. But thank God for it. We carry a little momentum into this Monday. We got Mexico on fire. We got a bit of an update there. I've been in touch with a couple of people that are actually on the ground, kind of just giving me basic updates about the status. It's obviously not good. We may even be hearing from them if they can get to a secure location and get a connection with us. Actually, they're trying to get out, but flights are getting canceled, so they're not even sure if they can get out. So if they can't get out, we could be getting a report from the ground. I don't know. I'm in touch with a couple of reporters right now. But who said it first? Who said it first? Who said, why did we agree to have these games in the World Cup in Mexico? Why, that was me. I said, what the hell were we thinking with that deal? Yeah, and now here we are, just a few weeks away from the World Cup, and a couple of the host cities are on fire. So that's great. That's just dandy. We got a statement from President Trump on the tariffs. Oh, and we have a statement from Karine Jean-Pierre, because there was some back and forth about what U.S. involvement in the killing of that cartel leader, what U.S. involvement there was or wasn't. And so some of the usual factors here wanted to stir the pot and then basically blamed it on Trump. They tried to give Trump credit. They can't rush to, stroke Trump off fast enough. So they tried to give him credit. And then everybody said, no, that's not how it worked. Laura Loomer. Excuse me. That's something in my throat. So that was interesting. But we have a statement from Caroline Leavitt. It's not good. It's a total disaster. And they should have done better. So they weren't able to get the Americans out of Mexico before the cartel leader was killed. Now you've got Americans in a compromising situation. They're calling for Americans to get out of Lebanon, and they are evacuating nearly all personnel from the embassy in Beirut. And they're saying the only people that are going to remain are emergency only at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. Meanwhile, the USS Gerald R. Ford is, here's another disaster. They've had an extended service time, and the people aboard are not happy. Not happy at all, actually. So we got an update on that. Trump pulled some weird move over the weekend. He tried to send a hospital ship to Greenland, and they basically said, what the hell is this? No, thank you. And then it turned around and came home. So that's nice. We've got another Epstein scalp. I'm not going to get into some raw Epstein files. I'm kind of compiling some others that we might get to this week. We're not going to get to raw Epstein files, but we do have some Epstein clips. We've got some developments in that whole situation. Tina Peters denied bond over the weekend. That's no good. An armed intruder at Mar-a-Lago. How this ties into AI with another shooter that was from last week. We got all that. An astrophysicist, one of the top in his field, shot and killed. That's a little strange. Korea running a pandemic simulation. That's a little alarming. The housing market is crashing. The stock market is down. But don't worry. Gavin Newsom, he's trying to court the black vote in Georgia. So he goes down there. You know what he says? He says, I can't read good. I can't read no good down here in Georgia. Oh, my gosh. And then I got a whole stack of foreign policy, geopolitics, Israel, and the like. It's a loaded Monday show.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
All right, guys, what are you doing to protect your wealth? Obviously, the stock market, as we see, where's it going to go? Some people are wondering. It's not at 50K anymore, Pam. We at least know that. It's not at 50K anymore. It's trending down today. Precious metals seems to be the safe bet. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Crypto down. In fact, it looks like there could be a big crypto scam that is hitting the news pretty soon that might involve Washington, D.C. We'll leave it at that. But the point is, what are you doing to protect your wealth? How are you feeling about cash? Not so good. How are you feeling about keeping a bunch of cash in the bank? Even worse. Crypto down. Stock market's down. Who knows? Precious metals seems to be the safest bet, seems to be where everybody is moving. So you should think about it. And you should talk to my friends at Allegiance Gold. And that's all you need to do. A simple phone call to them, 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Just a simple phone call. Any questions, concerns? They're all about you understanding your assets and the best move for yourself when it comes to precious metals. They want to make sure you're informed. They're just a phone call away. You can also go to protectwithowen.com, protectwithowen.com for more information. But this is why I partnered with Allegiance Gold. They've been around for nearly a decade, and they're trusted by over 7,000 clients nationwide. They are relationship-driven. That's why they want you to give them a call. They got an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Think about that. So many of these precious metal gold groups, A+ with the Better Business Bureau, not so much. Not so much. But that's the case with Allegiance Gold. A+. And 4.9 stars from real clients. They're transparent, and they focus on educating you first. That's what the phone call is all about. Right now, they're offering $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. You heard that right, $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments, whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings. They make it simple to make the move and make it now and make it work for you. So give them a call, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, how we doing, guys? How we doing on a Monday? Man, what a weekend, huh? What a weekend. What a weekend for Team USA. You know, we are going to get into some of that. I have to tell you, I was missing the Olympics a little bit last night. This is what happens to me when it's on the other side of the world. I fall asleep at night with the Olympics on. The sounds, the sights of it, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's soothing. It puts me to sleep. It distracts me. I think that's what it was. It distracts me from the chaos of the world. So kind of missed it last night. But boy, oh boy, we were all over that Team USA victory, weren't we, guys? We were all over it. And there was some weirdness. There was some weirdness in the aftermath. We are going to get to that today. And as you can see, the images on the screen, I just scrolled down them here to my right. Mexico on fire, Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, and it's I actually had a meeting with one of my lawyers It's fun, isn't it, guys? With one of my lawyers. It's always fun. He was actually supposed to be down there. He was supposed to be taking off actually today after we spoke. And it looks like he'll be sticking around, obviously. So that's crazy. Now, the state of the Trump administration is, chaos and disarray is one way to put it. And I'm hearing more and more. Just, from people that I talk to. In fact, I was running around after my legal meeting this morning. I was running around just doing some errands, ran into a couple people, and they both said the same thing. In fact, big shout out to one of the audience members that I hadn't seen in years, actually. Great guy, local here. But ran into a couple people, and they all said the same thing as far as, the political discussion is concerned. They say, hey, thank you. Thank you for telling it like it is and for holding the Trump administration accountable. So many of my sources or so many of the people I used to trust or commentators I used to listen to, they're just still not being honest about the state of the Trump administration. And I can't really, I just do political play-by-play. My natural tendency, my instinct is to just call it as I see it, to just tell the truth as it lies in front of me. I do think there is a difficulty, and maybe this will give you, the listener, a media consumer, which I am as well, a bit of an understanding. What happens when you do specifically live media, but really any sort of content? The best are able to untether, meaning you aren't tethered to anything specifically. You're able to go out there and roam free, and it allows you to see everything and call everything as it is, where so many people are either tethered to a person, tethered to, a party, tethered to a network, which has other implications. So I'm just able to just completely untether when I do this show. And so I'm not even really thinking about it like, oh, am I holding Trump's feet to the fire? But nonetheless, the point is that it's frustrating right now for people, I guess you could say on the right, on the political right, for whatever the left-right paradigm is even worth these days, very little. It's frustrating because we had one expectation with Trump. We had another expectation as far as the new burgeoning right-wing independent media, and we see it going a completely different direction now. And so it's just a relief when you find people that aren't tethered to that. So I think we can all, myself included, I think we can all kind of relate to that and appreciate that. And I, as a media consumer, I'm in the same realm. The people out there that I see totally tethered to the Republican Party or totally tethered to Trump, I can't deal with it anymore. And I kind of spoke about it, and it caught a lot of oh boy, that clip, by the way, the Owen Schroyer Clips account. I don't run that account. So that's they make their own headlines, they make their own clips. Now they've consulted and asked, and I said, no, that's you. You do you. I'm not. You guys just do it your way over there. But they posted a clip from last week where I'm kind of ranting about this concept. And boy, oh boy, did that anger some people. All right, so be it. And then I see this weekend, Huffines here, who I voted for governor against Abbott. And now he's getting endorsed by mainstream GOP. He's getting endorsed by Con Inc. And it's just like, I can't help it. It just disgusts me now. And I feel bad because I have people that know him and they say he's a good guy and I trust these people. And it's not even about Don. Maybe you could have got away with the whole Epstein Ranch purchase. Maybe. But it's like, oh, okay, the Epstein Ranch purchase and then Con Inc. endorsements. And it's just like, I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it. So I think we're all kind of in that same boat here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then I see people we're thinking and saying the same thing. I got this clip today, this little sugar cookie up in Cook County, Illinois. She's ranting at a debate, a congressional debate. She's ranting against AIPAC and the foreign lobby. And it's like, yeah, all right. You know, she's pro-LGBTQ, open borders, illegal immigrant lawyer. And it's just like, oh, my God. It's like, where do you go? Where do you go? And I think we're just kind of waiting and seeing, unfortunately. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But we do have that clip. We do have that clip. All right, I'm going to get into the news. I'm going to get into the content of the show. Can I just ask you guys something, though? I'm just curious. I'm just genuinely curious about this. I'm going to have to close the chat. The chat is going to be too distracting. We got too much news today. But I am curious. I'm just curious what you guys think about this. Is anybody else having wild dreams lately? I'm just curious. I have had the craziest dreams the last couple of weeks. And I've kind of always had crazy dreams or even like nightmares even in spells. But lately the dreams have been like really serious, I would say. I don't know how else to say it. Very serious. Like not random. Wondering if anybody else is experiencing that. I see you guys are saying the same thing. I got to close the chat though, guys. I got to close the chat. It's going to be too distracting today. We've got way too much news to get to, all right? So let's do it. Let's get after it. All right, so you've got the tariff stuff from Trump. He released this statement earlier this morning. Any country that wants to play games with the ridiculous Supreme Court decision, especially those that have ripped off the USA for years and even decades, will be met with a much higher tariff and worse than that which they just recently agreed to. Buyer beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. You know, I'm trying to ballpark this, and my simplest analysis here is that he's just spiraling, quite frankly. This is the tariff thing was such a massive loss for his economic agenda, and now it's about to be a catastrophe, depending on what goes on now with it's like $173 billion now that are going to have to be essentially rebates for all these tariffs, which is ultimately going to end up, it was the U.S. taxpayer, it was the U.S. consumer that ended up paying these prices because the companies are going to be the ones that get the money back. So they raised the prices. You already paid the higher prices for the goods. Now they're going to get the rebate on the back end. And who knows the situation with the whole Lutnik family deal. So, okay, forget about that. No, the U.S. consumer ended up actually paying a significant portion of these tariffs, and then the companies they're going to get their rebate. It's just a total disaster. And you can look at the Supreme Court, and the truth is the Supreme Court is corrupt, just like our Congress. And so you can look at the Supreme Court from a couple different angles, and you can say, well, why don't they just rule? Why don't they just make a decision that's going to benefit America? The tariffs, let Trump use the tariffs to benefit the country, to better the country. Say, okay, but the Supreme Court's not supposed to be political. But the Supreme Court has been political. So, okay, Fair debate to be had. But if they're not being political and they're saying, no, this is the law, the president can't do it this way, and so there it is. So the president has put the cart in front of the horse on many different things. This whole money's invested into the country. The tariffs now, not sure what's going to happen. He's looking for different routes to do it. Now he's, I guess, whatever this is, threatening other countries. It's just not good. So here's the real problem. So aside from the debates over the Supreme Court, aside from the debates over the tariffs, this is the real problem. And this is why it's so frustrating dealing with the corruption of our government. We never address the real problem. We never address the real problem. The real problem is that it's twofold, but it's the same problem. See, we don't have the manufacturing, the production, the natural resources. At least we haven't tapped into them. We are not prepared for this trade war, period. We're just not. We are dependent on international trade. It could take years for the United States of America to make up all of the ground we've lost in manufacturing and production and natural resources, tapping into them, refining them. I mean, we're closing oil refineries. They just closed 2 big ones in California. That's not good. We're reopening some of the steel plants. So, okay, the engines were turned off. The engines of America were turned off for years, turned off because of regulations and the burdens that become along with it, because of taxes and the burdens that come along with it. And this is the other part of the same issue. Our Congress sold us out. The United States Congress has sold the United States out. That's why all of the production and manufacturing ended up in China, amongst other places, Mexico, Indonesia, you name it. You all see it, made in X foreign country. You see something made in America, you're like, whoa, wow, whoa. That's a pleasant surprise. Our Congress sold us out. So it'd be one thing if Trump got manufacturing and production and started tapping into our natural resources to a certain threshold where we could say to the world, hey, here's the new tariffs. If you don't pay them, F you. We're not really in a position to do that. We don't have the manufacturing capabilities. We don't have the production ready to go. We're not tapping into our own natural resources at a rate that is required to win this trade war. So yeah, we're kind of in a tough place here. But it's because Congress sold us out. So you can sit here and, yeah, okay, should the Supreme Court have ruled in favor of America? Should the Supreme Court remain neutral politically and just be a arbiter, a judge of the law, an interpretation of the law? Our Congress sold us out. And, you might as well throw all the corporations into that too. But how can you blame them? How can you blame an Apple? How can you blame these manufacturing giants when they look at the United States and they say, okay, well, I've got to pay 30% tax rate here, a corporate tax rate, and then I got all of this different regulation. I've got all of this different bureaucracy, all these different hoops and burdens that I have to get around just to get off the ground here. But if I go to this country overseas, I'm knocking out all of those costs and I can get a better profit. Okay, so there they go. So Congress opened the door for that, and so did prior administrations. And now Trump is trying to reverse all of it in just signing the pen with these tariffs and trying to get money in and leveraging whatever else he can to do it. NATO, military support, economic power as far as consuming is concerned. but it's just not balanced. It's just not balanced. So we'll see what ends up going on with these tariffs. Trump will take the blame, which he does it to himself. But Trump will end up taking the blame for this. But the truth is, this has been going on for years. We need to be looking at the Congress selling us out for our entire lives, past administrations selling us out. That's what they did. They made it more profitable for corporations, manufacturing, production, energy. They made it more profitable for it to come from overseas than for us to do it right here domestically. So that's what Trump is up against with these tariffs. And now he's basically lost his leverage with his decision. And I think they're just going to be spiraling. I think they're going to be spiraling, looking for excuses, and slowly but surely the confidence that was there for the first year is going to start to wane. The confidence is going to start to wane. Whatever these investments he's talked about bringing in, whatever hasn't come in may not come in ever. It may slow down. So it's really unfortunate. And maybe Trump could sit down and actually focus on all of this stuff and sit down with the bright minds that are available to him and get some of this stuff done. But he's constantly dealing with bad foreign policy. He's constantly dealing with geopolitical issues. So there you have it. There you have it. Now, one of the big issues now that they're dealing with is this ordeal in Mexico. Now, Caroline Leavitt released this statement last night. And I guess I can give you the backdrop after this, but she comes out, she makes the statement. Mexican army kills powerful Jalisco cartel leader known as El Mencho. So this is one of the biggest cartels in Mexico. Now you've seen the capabilities they have, the equipment, what have you. Cities are literally on fire. Two of the biggest tourist cities down there. So Leavitt comes out, makes the statement last night. The United States provided intelligence support to the Mexican government in order to assist with the operation in Tlalpalpa, Jalisco, Mexico, in which Namicio El Mencho Osiguara Cervantes, an infamous drug lord and leader within the Jalisco New Generational Cartel, was eliminated. El Mencho was a top target for the Mexican and United States government as one of the top traffickers of fentanyl into our homeland. Last year, President Trump rightfully designated the Jalisco New Generational Cartel as a foreign terrorist organization because that's exactly what it is. In this operation, 3 additional cartel members were killed, 3 were wounded, and 2 were arrested. President Trump has been very clear the United States will ensure narco-terrorists sending deadly drugs to our homeland are forced to face the wrath of justice they have long deserved. The Trump administration also commends and thanks the Mexican military for their cooperation and successful execution of this operation. So let's try to translate some of this. The United States provided intelligence support. What do you think that means? Are they talking about Palantir? Are they talking about CIA? Are they talking about a combination of the two? Now, here's where the big fumble was, I think, from our side of the Rio Grande. They should have known whenever this operation went down that there was going to be some pretty serious backlash and potentially, as we're seeing, some dangerous activity taking place in Mexico in response. They should have offered a warning to any Americans that are there to get out. And they didn't. And now who knows what it's really looking like as far as if there's going to be a death toll or, what the lives of Americans that are down there, how they might be impacted. We're still trying to figure out some reporting. It's still a little foggy, the fog of war down there. But okay, not even an effort to get the Americans out of there before all of this went down. Let's hope there's no dead Americans in the aftermath of this. But now notice what's happening. Oh, all of the fentanyl, it's coming from Venezuela. Well, that was a total lie. Just a total lie. that they used to go kidnap Maduro. So, okay, so that was a lie. Now they're saying, oh, all the fentanyl, this is where it's coming from. So now they're just using fentanyl to target these different drug cartels or whoever they want, really. They just call you a narco terrorist. They launch a military operation. Whether you support it or not, okay, that's up to you. But you can see the aftermath in Mexico has not been so good. You might say, oh, the aftermath with Venezuela, okay, not too negative there. The oil is all going to Israel. The global political alignment, it didn't shift it too much. Now it looks like Venezuela's cooperating. All right, whatever. Support it or not, okay, aftermath, not so bad. This deal in Mexico, I don't know. I think we're still waiting to see how bad it could be. And with the big celebration, the big World Cup coming up, the host cities now are literally on fire. And and now there's word that it could be making its way north in California, some of the gang members that are here in the United States connected to this cartel. So I don't think we really know what the full story here is. But it's just, what is this deal? Oh, the narco traffickers. They just came out. The White House is now okay with spraying glyphosate on everything. The White House is potentially about to bail out Bayer with their massive lawsuit. President Trump is famous for Operation Warp Speed and the COVID vaccines. And of course, we all know what happened with that. And we're going to sit here and pretend like fentanyl is this big issue, which, hey, fentanyl kills. It's not good. Nobody wants fentanyl here. I'm not saying, oh, no, fentanyl, forget about it. No, fentanyl is bad. We don't want it here. We should have a secure border. That should knock most of it out. And if you locate the cartels that are within the country, that's where you do it. You knock them out, you secure the border, okay. No, Trump has now set himself up for impeachment with these boat strikes. And who knows what's going to happen with this latest situation in Mexico. But that's what they do. I don't know what decisions they're making. They're just going to say, oh, this person's a narco-terrorist, that person's a narco-terrorist. Our damn government's a narco-terrorist. The CIA is famous for running cocaine. The biggest drug pushers on the planet, Big Pharma, they own our government. They own our media. Trump took millions of dollars from the glyphosate lobby, literally, and then he bails them out and totally betrays Make America Healthy Again. You've got moms. You got these big MAHA moms and big MAHA influencers. They're going on their shows crying, tears running down their cheeks at the betrayal. It's just such a disaster. None of this is making our country any better, and that's the problem. That's the problem. None of this is making our country any better. And it looks like standard political corruption that everybody's sick of. Oh, wow, we killed the big drug trafficker. Nobody's heard of this gang in America. Nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about this. If you don't want to die from fentanyl, don't do street drugs. And if the government wants to get involved in stopping deadly street drugs from being laced with fentanyl and killing people, then you legalize them and regulate them. So then Johnny Joe or Susie Sue wants to go do drugs, whatever it may be. They go down to the street store and they buy their drugs, and you're not getting fentanyl. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Well, I'm sorry, but that's called the free market. And guess what? The war on drugs has failed. Okay? The war on drugs has failed. Everybody knows. I mean, you got these guys. They do entire online personalities about doing drugs. They go to a club and they meet drug dealers at the club. They talk about how they can get the best cocaine. The war on drugs has failed. It doesn't work. So let's just be pragmatic. If you don't want Americans dying from fentanyl and street drugs, it's very simple. You tell people, hey, don't do street drugs. Oh, they do them anyway. Okay, so then you make them legal and you regulate them. We don't want to have that conversation. No. We just want to be insane and keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. That's what we want to do. Don't talk about that. You can't legalize stuff. It's all, you know what it is? It's all this bullshit. Political correctness is what it is. That's all it is. Oh my gosh. You support cocaine? No. But I also can't stop somebody from doing it. And neither can you. Oh my gosh. You want people to die from fentanyl? No. In fact, quite the opposite. And I guarantee you, in fact, I will bet you, and maybe it'll come out, I guarantee you these cartels, in some way, shape, or form, these cartels are lobbying Congress to keep these drugs illegal. Who's going to suffer the most? Who suffers the most if street drugs, illegal drugs, who suffers the most? The cartels and Big Pharma. Well, we know Big Pharma owns Congress. We know Big Pharma owns the media. You don't think the cartels are playing? Did you see this Jalisco drug gang, whatever it is? Did you see they look like a damn military? They got plenty of money. You don't think they're finding a way to lobby Congress? You don't think they're finding a way to lobby governments to keep street drugs illegal? That's how they make their money. If you want to bankrupt the cartels, start selling the drugs legally. Game over. No, we don't want to. No. We don't want to endorse drug use. We don't want to make. No. We can't do that. Okay, fine. So keep doing the same thing again, over and over again, and expecting different results. That's what you call insane. So that's what they do. That's what they do. Here's the latest. Chaos erupts at Mexican airports after death of drug lord El Mencho. So the airport's not exactly safe right now. American tourists trapped in Puerto Vallarta recount cartel retaliation after El Mencho killed. Witness reports stores ransacked, pharmacies burned down. Oh, pharmacies burned down. Oh. And guests locked in airport following major Mexican cartel leaders reported killing. Couldn't even get the Americans out, huh? Airlines halt Puerto Vallarta flights after violence following Mexican cartel leaders killing. U.S. and Canadian airlines halted flights to Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara in Mexico. Violence broke out in the country after the killing of the cartel leader. More cruise ships cancel. Puerto Vallarta, other Mexican ports still a go. So they're talking about all the different cruise ships that won't be going to those two cities for now. Well, I guess we know who runs those cities, huh? Guess we know who runs those towns. Mapped, Mexico cartel violence forced dozens of flights to divert, including a pair of private jets. Panicked passengers run for their lives at Guadalajara Airport as Mexican cartel violence erupts over killing of Jalisco new generation leader. So it's still kind of unclear exactly what the level of violence here is. All we can do is just look at some of the videos. It's all just a mess. It's all just a mess. Remember this story? It's funny how this always works. How Israeli firearms fall into the hands of Mexican drug cartels. Well, isn't that something? Israel sold Mexico over 24,000 guns and rifles from 2006 to 2018, a new report conducted as part of a global investigation reveals. With little oversight, Israel had inadvertently helped fuel violence in the country. Oh, yes. It's amazing how Israel is always inadvertently helping violence go down. But it's the same thing. It's the U.S. government. It's the Israeli government. The Chinese probably in on it too. It's the same corrupt governments that do this. And then it gets out of their control and they have to start a war to try to get it back under control. That's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. How's that World Cup looking? Mexican League matches postponed after cartel leader killed. So even the Mexico Soccer League, even they know it's like, oh, maybe we should get prepared before we kill a cartel leader. It's like the Mexican government, the U.S. government, they couldn't figure that deal out. They just, let's just kill him and then we'll see what happens. Even the Mexican Soccer League is like, we better take active measures here. How's the World Cup looking? What could Mexico cartel violence mean for the World Cup? Well, it should have never even been there. So that's ironic. I said that day one. I said, why in the hell would we allow Mexico to host our World Cup? Why would we let Mexico host some of these games? Now, will they be able to clean it up before then? I don't know. I wonder how bad this gets. I'm not so sure. Now, there's plenty of time for them to clean it up. Certainly, there's a couple months here. But who really knows? Who really knows how bad it could get? So that's nice. That's our neighbor, by the way. That's our neighboring country where all of this is going down. And then you've got the country that runs our country, their neighbors. State Department orders evacuation of non-emergency U.S. personnel from embassy in Beirut. The U.S. has deployed forces to the Middle East for a potential attack on Iran. Now, we're going to have more on this coming up. But see, this is what happens. When Israel's priorities outrank America's priorities, everything becomes a mess. The American people continue to suffer. America first policies and priorities continue to lose rank. And so this is what you get. You get a complete mess. You get a complete mess. So when the foreign interests and the special interests run the White House, you get a mess. Here's another mess. $13 billion USS Gerald R. Ford faces embarrassing sewage crisis amid plans to punish Iran. So this ship was supposed to be done after its normal 6 months. The USS Gerald Ford, America's most advanced and expensive aircraft carrier, is grappling with persistent sewage system failures as it prepares for potential confrontation with Iran. Commissioned in 2017 at a cost of $13 billion, the Superior introduced vacuum-based plumbing system. The Super Carrier introduced a vacuum-based plumbing system that has repeatedly malfunctioned under the strain of more than 4,500 sailors. Reports reveal hundreds of breakdowns, grueling repair shifts, and mounting frustration among crew members during extended deployments. While the U.S. Navy insists operational readiness remains intact, critics argue the recurring technical flaws raise serious concerns about oversight, morale, and reliability aboard America's flagship warship. Oh, we got more details on this one. Clogged toilets, narrow pipes. USS Ford faces dirty sewage problem amid possible U.S. strike on Iran. It is reportedly facing the sewage failures due to narrow pipes, frequent clogs, impacting crew conditions. The issue comes as the carrier heads towards West Asia amid rising U.S.-Iran tensions, raising questions over operational readiness. So what's the story? Because of our foreign policy priorities, which are not America's, they're Israel's, what would normally be the standard 6-month tour, or however they want to describe it in naval terms. It's normally 6 months, and then they get to go home and regroup and, clean up the ship, let's say. And I'm not, this isn't probably the best way to describe it. I'm not the expert, but this is the general understanding of mine. They normally do 6 months. Now they're on month 8, and they're basically being commissioned to get ready for the war with Iran. Now, I can imagine you're already on a ship 6 months. I'm sure things start to pile up, let's say. I'm sure even just after 6 months, stuff starts to pile up. Well, now they're on month 8, and who knows what happens in Iran? Who knows how long they have to be stationed out there? So reports are that there's so much frustration and there's such a morale problem on this aircraft carrier, which is the most expensive, biggest one that the United States Navy has, that apparently the men aboard, the men and women aboard, are saying, this is it. I'm done. I'm out after this. They're ticked off. And now they follow the news. Maybe not as much as you listening to this, maybe not as me, but they got a general idea. They know what's being talked about back stateside. They damn well know the only reason they're on month number 8 and the only reason they're extending this tour is because that's what Israel demands. So how do you think that's looking? How do you think that's working out? How do you think the morale on the ship is? Signed up to serve the United States. Now I'm extended 8 months plus because Israel needs us to attack Iran. You damn well know that's what's going on. You damn well know that's what's going on in this ship and the bowels and the conversations. Bowels, no pun intended. That's what you get. Everybody sees it. Yikes. And now you're just sitting here in a game of cat and mouse with Trump, Netanyahu, and Khamenei. You're just sitting here in a game of saber-rattling cat and mouse. Who's going to move first? Who's going to strike first? Meanwhile, you're sitting there on a ship that is quite literally filling with shit. And you're 2 months past your arrival home date, and you don't even know when you're coming home, and you're sitting on a stinking pile of shit. And you know that none of it has anything to do with America's interests. And so, yeah, now the chatter is, we're out. We're done. We're not serving anymore after this. We're done. Translate that how you want. I think we all know what that means. And then in some bizarre move, puzzling everybody, Trump's envoy rebukes Greenland leader for rejecting hospital ship proposal. Greenland seizes on healthcare attack and rejecting Trump offer. So out of nowhere, Trump just says, we're going to send a hospital ship to Greenland. And so Denmark, and I think it was Switzerland, there might have been another joint, it was a joint statement. They basically said, what? We don't need a hospital ship. What are you doing? We don't have any sickness issue here. Our hospitals are not jammed up. We've got plenty of hospitals. There's no sickness here. What's up with this ship? We don't need it. Thank you, but you can go home. We don't need it. And then they used it to rub our nose in it as well, saying, oh, well, we know that the United States needs health care more than we do. We're healthy and we have free health care here. So you guys probably need the ship more than us, just to really rub it in our face. And again, I'm no government healthcare person. But yeah, if we weren't spending how many billions every day patrolling the Middle East for Israel, I bet you we could probably have some pretty cheap healthcare here, actually. It's like, yeah, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I don't really like any big government spending. But if you're going to spend what? X amount of dollars annually on patrolling the Middle East for Israel, yeah, you know what? That would probably That'd probably, if we redirected that to American healthcare, I bet that would do pretty good, actually. Not that I support either one, but that's the little shiv in our back. It's like, hey, you guys are the ones that have the healthcare problems, not us. You guys are the ones that are sick because your artificial food dyes. You guys are the ones that are sick because of the glyphosates on your food. You guys are the ones that are sick because of the fluoride in your water. You guys are the ones that are broke because you're spending all this money for foreign aid and foreign entanglements. So maybe you guys should keep the hospital ship. In fact, do you guys need some help? So they sent the ship out, and everybody was like, what? What is this about? Greenland's rejection of Donald Trump sending U.S. military hospital ship has touched off a private public healthcare debate amid ongoing diplomatic talks about Arctic security. Greenland's Prime Minister, Jens Fredrik Nielsen, on Sunday turned down Trump's offer, and now Trump's special envoy to Greenland, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, has weighed in. What is going on, man? It's all so weird. None of it makes sense. None of it is deliberately America first. None of it is helping the country. It's all foreign interests. It's all special interests. And everybody's seeing it more clearly now than ever, and everyone is sick of it.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, guys. Well, let's hope we don't have a big emergency in the aftermath of all of this news we just covered. Let's hope. But it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to have emergency preparedness and not need it than need it and not have it. And so my Patriot Supply is back with their 3-month emergency food supply. That's right. They're back with the 3-month emergency food supply. And so if you haven't gotten emergency food, this is the way to go, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get better than this. It seems like everywhere you look, there's another crisis, controversy, conflict, catastrophe. You can't control what happens out there, but you can control how you prepare for it. You can make sure that no matter what happens, you have the basics covered in case one of these disasters reaches your doorstep. You know, things like having enough food to eat when the shelves are empty. And when it comes to my house and food security, I trust my Patriot Supply. They've helped millions of Americans get prepared, and they have over 90,000 5-star reviews. Right now, you can get their best-selling 3-month emergency food supply for $100 off. That's right, $100 off their classic 3-month emergency food supply. The best in the business. My Patriot Supply almost never offers a deal like this, so take advantage at preparewithowen.com. That's the unique link for this audience, preparewithowen.com. This food kit gives you 2,000 calories a day, lasts up to 25 years, and best of all, $100 off for a limited time. You just got to go to preparewithowen.com, or if you're watching, you can scan that barcode on your screen, and you can get the same offer for this audience only by scanning the barcode on that screen or by going to preparewithowen.com. You see the chaos, folks. It's better to have emergency food and not need it than need it and not have it.
Navigating between the sane and insane, it's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
So the Mexican military, oh boy, they're now reporting that the vast majority of weapons that they've seized in the fight against these cartels are of foreign origin. Of foreign origin. Isn't that something? So we all know what that means. We all know what that means. All right, if we get any other developments on that, we'll let you know. Meanwhile, let's look at some of this latest Epstein stuff. We got another scalp here. More scalps in Europe than here in America. Another one here. Mandy Raid, Peter Mandelson arrested over Epstein files just days after Andrew held by cops. The ex-ambassador, 72 years old, is accused of leaking sensitive government intelligence to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, like he was blackmailed by Epstein to get sensitive intelligence? Well, golly gee molly. I have a feeling this trend is going to continue. We said it after the first incident at the airport where the guy was shouting about the Epstein files, and then there were a couple other instances out on the streets with the bullhorn. Here is the latest.
Acted like they care about us. They keep us distracted. Democrat and Republican, fuck that shit. Them niggas eating kids, goddammit. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Democratic Republicans, they eating kids, goddammit. Wake the fuck up. It's time for a revolution. It's time for the people versus the government. The politicians can't save us. Y'all better wake up or ever be complicit. Forever be complicit. Because ever be complicit with your motherfucking leaders eating kids, goddammit. Be complicit. Bring it back to the old days when America was great again.
So I would reject the obscenities there if I was going to do it. But hey, you know what? He's out there. He'll do it his way. You know, people are asking, and it's worth at least mentioning here. People keep asking as they see this stuff, or they don't see this stuff even, either way. They say, why are there no big protests over the Epstein files? And Elon Musk is probably the biggest account addressing this. They say, why is there no big protest over the Epstein files? Why is there no big protest over whatever the hell was going on with this stuff? And it's because there's no funding. There's no political interests. And the people that normally fund and organize and support and operate these protests, they're the ones in the Epstein files. They're the ones connected to the Epstein network. So that's why they're not going to fund and organize a protest against themselves. And it's strange. I look back, I can't help it. I look back at January 6th. Probably the last truly organic protest in this country's history. And I even wonder how organic that was. And I believe it was organic because I was at the grassroots level of it. As far as I know, no government agencies were telling me to go out and do the rallies and the protests. I suppose perhaps even I could be unknowingly deceived by that. But as far as I know, that was all organic. But I look back on January 6th, and let's assume that was the last truly organic movement of people in protest that this country has seen. And so now you see why they turned it into such an ordeal. And yeah, I do wonder, was that whole thing a setup? Was that whole thing to stop us from ever organizing and protesting like that ever again? Make your big federal cases, make your arrests, make your imprisonments, all of that stuff. But I do wonder, is it going to be enough to curtail any potential protest over the Epstein files? Because I think there's something building here. I think there's something building here. And I think eventually there will be a massive protest, a massive march demanding all Epstein co-conspirators arrested or demanding all files released unredacted. Something of that nature is going to happen. And you know, I'm like, I feel like I've already paid the price for doing this. And I really have no interest in a protest or anything like that with my current status. But that's one I would consider getting behind. That's one I would consider getting behind and getting back out on the streets over, I will say. And I do think it could unite the left and the right if done in the right way. But I feel like it's an inevitable thing if we don't see any legitimate movement on these Epstein files as far as co-conspirators being arrested, or I mean, hell, a basic legitimate press conference or hearing where we can get answers, when we can get basic questions answered. And yeah, we saw the Pam Bondi crash out, but that whole thing was a clown show. Nobody really asked the right questions. Not that Pam Bondi would have answered them anyway, but the whole thing was a clown show. The line of questioning was mostly a clown show. And then, of course, Pam Bondi, a total clown show, a total crash out clown show. But I have a feeling, I think you're going to continue to see these organic little street protests like that. And I think if we don't see major movement here, because people are just done with the politics at this point. They don't want to hear about your right-wing crap. They don't want to hear about your left-wing crap. As long as we have foreign interests and special interests that run our country and run both sides of the aisle, that also exist in this Epstein network of blackmailed satanic pedophiles, people don't give a damn. They've given up. They've given up on the political process. They've given up on any hope that the left or the right is going to do anything right for this country, as long as they're all bought and paid for by special and foreign interests and blackmailed in some satanic pedophile cult. And it's this big joke. The establishment right is worse now, but the establishment left is like, they're kind of trying to play both sides. But it's like this big joke. It's like, oh, these are just conspiracy theorists. Oh, these are just anti-Semites. Oh, these are just X and this and Y. And it's like, no, you don't get it. You guys are so out of touch with reality, and you're not even trying. You're not even trying to touch it anymore. The joke's actually on you. Like, you think you're laughing at Tim Dillon doing his show and making fun of the Epstein stuff. You guys think you're laughing at Andrew Schultz doing the Epstein stuff. You guys think you're laughing at the independent media that's covering this stuff and looking at the code words and connecting the dots. Like, you guys think you're laughing at the people that are looking at whatever MAGA is now, or the Trump administration, and saying this sucks. This objectively sucks. You guys think you're laughing and you're getting one over. No, you're embarrassing yourselves. You're humiliating yourselves. And now everybody looks at you and says, well, gee, why are you covering up for this? Why are you trying to distract for this? You're not America first. You're not even a basic American patriot. You don't even have the basic political IQ to read the room and see the direction that this administration is now going. And you think you're laughing at us? You're really just laughing at yourselves in denial. So I was wondering, what of this story we saw developing 2 weeks ago? It's like, again, the Epstein network. They run the school system. They literally run the curriculum. Mossad and Maxwell bought the United States education curriculum. And that's why you hear all about the Holocaust and not all about the Bolsheviks. It's very simple. So they find out, oh, okay, the Maxwell network runs the school curriculum. Oh, the Epstein network runs the school photo industry. So I said we'd be following this. I wasn't sure if it was getting real or not. And I said if I ever find signs that it was, I'd let you know. Here you go.
Moving on, though, a Northern California school district is reassuring parents and others are canceling school picture days, all because of a rumor being circulated online.
That conspiracy links the Epstein files and one of the nation's largest school photography companies.
ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Tim Johns explains the new Picture Day privacy debate.
LifeTouch, one of the most prominent school photography companies in the country, is facing district investigations and canceled school photo days. It's all because of an unsubstantiated rumor spreading online. It claims the former CEO of LifeTouch's ownership group, who was named in the Epstein files, may have accessed children's photos. The rumors have caused concern among parents around the country.
Now, isn't that funny? They say it's rumors. They say it's conspiracy. And then they literally show the evidence that it's real. Now, if they want to say there's no evidence it's being used for nefarious practices, okay, I suppose that's fair. That's a fair claim. But to say that there's a unfounded conspiracy of connections and then say it's been proven in the Epstein files, this is clown world comical right here.
From Texas.
Talking to my mom, she said that LifeTouch took my pictures whenever I was little. So this has been going on for decades, where no one really thought anything of it until we started thinking about, okay, wait, who actually is seeing these pictures instead of just the parents?
To here in California. Just this week, a school district in Salinas sent this letter to families addressing the rumor and saying it was untrue. LifeTouch, too, has responded, releasing a statement which reads in part, LifeTouch is not named in the Epstein files. The documents contain no allegations that LifeTouch itself was involved in or that student photos were used in any illicit activities.
See, but here's the problem. It's not worth the risk. You understand? It's not worth the risk. If there's a 1% chance, okay, so people connected to LifeTouch or the owner of LifeTouch are connected in the Epstein files. Okay, maybe there's nothing there. If there's a 1% chance that there is, it's not worth the risk. It's like, duh. It's not worth the risk if there's a 0.1% chance that those photos could be used for nefarious purposes.
Despite the pushback against the alleged Epstein connections, other concerns have emerged too. Specifically, conversations around data privacy and how your information and photos might be used.
You want to know who owns those photos, and that's typically done by contract, and what can be done with the photos later between you and the photographer.
Stephen Clark is a South Bay-based attorney. He says it's important to read the fine print on consent forms for things like school photo shoots. Tech expert Ahmed Banafa agrees, especially given the chance of a data breach.
About 5 million pictures being sold on the dark web in 2023.
Banafa says LifeTouch has taken important steps to ensure its data isn't shared with third parties. He also says in California, consumers are protected legally.
This privacy law in California is new, so it's really taking into consideration all the advancement in technology.
LifeTouch says you can fill out a form to request to have your child's data deleted if you choose. In San Francisco, Tim Johns, ABC 7 Eyewitness.
So let's talk about the larger issue. And this is an issue across the board, across the country that we've all kind of let happen. But it all stems from corruption. There shouldn't be one giant photo company, say Life Touch. There shouldn't be one giant company that runs the whole show. That's the problem. It should be a local company. There should be a local company in San Francisco. They handle the school photos in San Francisco. Should be a local photo company in Oakland. They handle the photos in Oakland, and so on and so forth. And this is where America kind of lost its heart and soul, is we let these monopoly men buy up everything. And that's why you don't have any local business. That's why it's all big, giant corporations now. And, 1% of people own 99% of everything. So we've kind of done this to ourselves, but that's what it is. So we've lost the local touch. We've lost the local connection. And a lot of it does stem from the corruption. A lot of it does stem from the bankers. They've got their little cartels that they give all of the money. They get all of the resources so that they can just buy everything up. So the local photo company in Oakland or San Francisco or Sacramento or wherever, they just get bought up. They get bought up by the big guy. They say, well, this is retirement money. This is generational wealth. So I'm taking it. I'm retiring. Bye-bye. And then the big monopoly men come up and buy everything. And then, well, what do you know? I'm like, oh, they're all in the Epstein files. Oh, and they're all connected to the central banks. That's the cartel. That's the cartel. And that's why the fiat currency, the fake money, and the people that print it and run it, that's how they're able to do all this. That's how they're able to buy off every local independent whatever into their giant conglomeration, their giant corporation, because they have all the money. They have all the assets. Everyone else gets taxed into oblivion. Everyone else gets regulated out of business. So they just come in and buy up, and you say, gee, it's way too hard to run this business. I can barely make a profit anymore. These guys just offer me generational wealth, so I'm done. And then they owe everything. They own everything, and then you find out, oh, gee, they're connected to the Epstein files? That's how it all works. That's what we're coming to learn. What are the odds? I'm telling you, man, this Lutnik situation is just, it's bad, guys. There's no other way to put it. It's just bad. Let's listen to this report, this connection with Epstein and Lutnik. This is crazy.
What are the odds that the notary to the deed of what was both Epstein and Howard Lutnick's property at 11 East 71st Street, because yes, Epstein owned that property before Lutnik owned that property. It was transferred to Epstein for just $10 in 1992. Epstein passed the deed to a Comet Trust in 1996. Again,
Comet Trust. Boy, that name Comet keeps popping itself up around all of this weird activity. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you know, you know. That Comet seems to be a theme in these networks.
For just $10, of which a Guido Goldman was a trustee, the son of one of the founders of the World Jewish Congress. And then it was passed to Lutnik in 1996 for, again, just $10. Who notarized the deed transferring this property from Jeffrey Epstein to the Comet Trust in 1996? A Gary Pollard just so happened to be in the perfect spot at the perfect time to record the perfect shot of the South Tower collapsing on September 11th, 2001. Is it just a weird coincidence that Jeffrey Epstein and Howard Lutnik owned 911 East 71st Street?
Are we allowed to believe in coincidences like that anymore? It's getting harder and harder every day to believe that. Tina Peters, the political prisoner in Colorado, bond release request denied for Tina Peters. So the Gold Star grandmother continues to rot away in prison. What a shame. What a disgusting shame. Over the weekend, I believe it was over the weekend, 21-year-old North Carolina man killed after breaching Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and a gas can. U.S. Secret Service agents and a local deputy shot and killed a 21-year-old North Carolina man who breached the entrance of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort on Sunday. Trump was not at the property. And so this stuff is getting really weird, guys. This stuff is getting really weird. And it used to be that the left would always try to blame this on right-wingers. Now the right is trying to blame it on right-wingers, but only the dissident right. And, you know, maybe a famous example would be that that trans shooter at the hockey game. It's like a big Trump supporter, big MAGA guy, but then they only want to blame it on the dissident right people and just ignore his support for Trump conveniently. So now it's the establishment right that's acting like the establishment left. It's the woke right acting like the woke left that wants to start pointing fingers at anybody they can for these events. It's really just disgusting stuff. And you know what it is? The truth tellers are always the ones that get targeted. That's what it is. Forget about right, left, up, down, center, in between, middle. It doesn't matter. The corrupt establishment types always go for the truth tellers, whether it's because they themselves are corrupted or maybe they're afraid that the truth tellers will eventually surpass them and replace them and make them irrelevant. It's always the corrupt establishment that tries to put the boot on the neck of the truth tellers. Every single time, that's what remains. But there was a development in that story. And so this is scary for obvious reasons. OpenAI employees raised alarms about Canada shooting suspect months ago. ChatGPT maker opted against informing authorities about Jesse Van Rootselar's descriptions of violence last June. So they're basically saying here that the AI company pinged this individual for potential violence, but didn't turn it over to authorities. You know where this is going, right? You know where this is going. This is going towards AI surveillance pre-crime. That's where it's going. AI surveillance pre-crime. And they're going to say, oh, see? And there'll be another one and probably a worse one. And that's when they'll bring in the AI pre-crime unit. And that's when they'll probably push for gun control again. And it'll be on the right and the left, by the way. That's what they're going to do. There'll be a bigger issue. There'll be a bigger incident. And they'll say, oh, AI pinged this person. Isn't it worth it to save these innocent lives? So now we got to go with AI. And they'll sell it to you with good cause. And then they'll just use it to go after whoever they want. And they'll just say, oh, this person right here, it got pinged. Throw him in jail. All right, guys. I think we're going to go to a reporter in Mexico. I don't know if he was able to get out or not, but I'm hearing from him right now. But you know where that's going. So, oh, yeah, look, it's good. We can stop a potential mass shooter. We can stop a potential big crime. Oh, that's great. But then you have no idea. Then they can just rig AI to target their political enemies, target their political opposition, say, oh, this person was going to do that. No proof. They just make it up. And then, boom, you get rid of your entire political opposition. That's where this is going. And they're just teasing it right now. All right. Let me get a link to... We're going to be joined here by Dan Dix. He was literally on the ground as all of this was happening in Mexico. I don't know what his current status is. We're about to find out. Oscar Martinez, I believe he's from Real America's Voice. He was doing work on the ground as well. That was another good source for news. But we're going to hear from Dan Dix. He told me if he could make it on, he would. So let's do that. So I just sent him the link. All right, we've got Dan Dix with us now, getting his camera set up. All right, Dan, you are live on the air. Why don't you just briefly give me an update? Were you able to get out of Mexico?
No, I am essentially on lockdown in my hotel still, right here in Puerto Vallarta. Everything went down yesterday, obviously. I'm sure everybody's already seen burning cars, the burning buses, the Costco on fire, the OXXO stores on fire, the gas stations on fire, the roads shut down. It was just absolute mayhem for a little while yesterday. But as of now, I'm still stuck in the hotel. In fact, there's hundreds of people at this particular hotel who are stuck here right now. Our flights have been canceled. My airline has not given me any idea of when I might be able to return back home. I'm still waiting on them for a new itinerary and haven't gotten that yet. So I've had to just now book this room for a couple of more nights at least. But that could be one, it could be two, it could be a week. I'm really not sure exactly how long this is going to take right now for us to get out of here. But things have quieted down a little bit here in Puerto Vallarta. I mean, there's not the exploding cars and things like that happening outside right now. I think they're trying to open up the roads again. I think they're trying to get the airport back on track. I'm sure there's a lot of backlog right now. But things are slowly coming back. Now, is this the eye before the eye of the hurricane? I don't know. You know, are they going to launch another attack any minute? I really don't know. But as of now, I'm kind of stuck in this particular hotel for the next God knows how long.
Okay, I wanna just start at the beginning, how it all kind of went down. If you want to talk about, you know, you just being there or kind of the general media coverage of it. How much of a warning was there? Was there any warning at all? I mean, did you get any notice or any warning that this might be going down, or did fires start up and you see the smoke, you hear things exploding and it was like, what the hell's going on? And then you find out, or what was like the initial opening act here when all of this started going down for you just being there?
Well, for me, I'm in Puerto Vallarta because I was invited here to speak at a conference. So I've been in attendance at a conference, basically working for the last 5 days straight. And I had tagged on one extra day for me and my wife to enjoy the beach for one day after speaking at this conference for a week. And so, you know, on that, finally our beach day came and we got out there, and all I see is black smoke, just a huge plume of black smoke on the left of me, massive plume of black smoke on the right, tons of smoke behind me. I can see the flames at the bottom of the smoke, and I'm like, okay, something is going on here. Something major is going down. And I started getting messages popping off on my phone that there was a major cartel operation where they took out a top drug kingpin, and now it looks like there might be military involvement and they're clamping down, and all of a sudden it was just mayhem all around me. I went outside to do a quick video report. You got the still of the video there where I went out, and there was just, it was the most eerie thing. There was not a soul in sight. The whole place was like desolate wasteland, and everybody was gone, and there was a burning, smoldering car there. So I went over there to start filming a little video breakdown to update people about what was happening. And all of a sudden a truck rolled up, a pickup truck with about 8 or 9 guys in the back of this truck with huge guns and black ski masks and camo. And I didn't know, I was pretty afraid there for a good 10 or 15 seconds. I was like, oh man, is this really how I'm going to go out in life? Like, this is crazy. I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't know if it was the cartel, because they often look like the military around here, or if it was the military or just the Mexican police. And either way, if it was the cartel, that was pretty scary. But if it was the military or the Mexican police, well, they're the target of the cartel, so that's pretty scary too. So at any rate, they ended up they slowed down a little bit, and then they kept going. And so I was very relieved that I didn't have anything bad go on there. So I just continued to shoot my video and got back into the hotel and realized, you know what, I should probably just not venture outside today. That was yesterday when everything was really crazy. So as soon as I'm done this interview, I've got 1 or 2 more interviews, and then I think I'm going to venture out now. I think it's safe enough now to go get some more boots on the ground reporting and just see what the scene is out there now compared to yesterday. I know all the stores are still closed all around me. And there is a little bit of a concern on whether or not people are going to be able to get food here at the hotel. I'm being told I should start to stockpile, bottles of water in my room here and food as well, because logistically, like, I don't know if you've heard, these guys, the cartel were going around with backhoes digging up the road to make it next to impossible to travel, even if you wanted to. So it could be still a bit of a situation logistically to get around, to get food and water and things like that. So hopefully this blows over in the next day or two or sooner. But I could be dealing with this for, a week or more. It's really tough to say at this point.
So it sounds like it's, you didn't get a warning, and now you're kind of just in no man's land as far as what to anticipate for the next couple of days. Are people panicked? Are they calm? I mean, I know we've seen some of your footage. It looks like there's confusion, but not too much of a panic situation. Do you feel that that's balanced right now, or might people start going a little stir crazy?
Well, I just spent 2 hours in line down at the concierge of this hotel trying to secure this room for a couple of more days. And there was a bit of panic on the people's faces. I could hear the conversations happening all around me. One guy is not able to get the next available Delta flight is not till Saturday. And I mean, today is Monday. So that's quite the extension on your trip. Other people were told, go to third parties like Expedia and other ones like that and try to get your stuff figured out. And they did that, and everything is sold out. Because I think there's a lot of backlog right now. All the people who couldn't travel yesterday are being bumped to the next availables. And so there's a little bit of a panic on how long people are going to be here. But some of them are just trying to make the best of it. We are fairly close to the beach here, and there are certainly a lot more people out today trying to just soak up the sun and, I guess, just make the best of the situation as best they can. I would love to as well, but duty calls. I'm just going to be plugging away, trying to bring information to people who want to hear it, because I'm sure the mainstream media is not exactly reporting on this in a truthful light.
Virtually nothing, actually, Dan. Dan Dix is our guest at Dan Dix PFT on X, and you can see a lot of his videos from what was going on there, and I imagine there'll be more tomorrow. What about the general sense of things as far as who's in control? I mean, obviously, the Mexican cartels have a lot more control in Mexico than, say, a drug gang might have in the streets of the United States. What is kind of the general sense of who's really in control of the situation right now, or is anybody in control?
Well, we're seeing cartel guys literally driving around in tanks that look like they're straight from the military, but it's not the military. It's the cartel. From what I heard, too, when these things have happened in the past, some of these cartel guys have tried to shoot down military helicopters with rocket launchers. They literally have this type of stuff at their disposal. So they're certainly seem to be running the show around here. But let's make no mistake, there's a very good chance, a lot of these drug cartels anyways are directly in bed with the government. I mean, we've seen that kind of stuff in other governments. You look at the Clinton era with the CIA drug running. I mean, this is, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some governmental involvement in this because I think they're going to eventually clamp down on the Mexican people. They've been working on bringing in this digital ID. They want to up the surveillance police state. They want to track and trace everybody around here. They want to have more cameras. And this may provide that perfect excuse for classic order out of chaos type of modus operandi. It's your problem reaction solution. You got this big explosions, huge plumes of smoke and fire. And then the reaction is, oh my goodness, do something about this for us, please. And then you step in and you offer the solution, which obviously is track, trace, database, everybody get on a digital ID. And so we might see that in Mexico. We might see them clamp down on people here. And you always got to ask the question, qui bono, right? Who's going to ultimately benefit from this? And it's certainly not looking like it's going to be the Mexican people, not even necessarily the cartel, but the government themselves. So I've got my guard up about who's really running the show around here. And, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on all of that. So, yeah, intense.
Well, and I think based off of the word out of the White House, it sounds like they were probably using some of their AI software to share this intelligence in order to take out that gang leader. That was kind of my interpretation of the words that came out of the White House, which is why I thought it was a little, I mean, I guess you don't want to make a public announcement to give the cartels the warning ahead of time, but you'd think, hey, let people know that this could potentially get bad. And if you're an American, you might want to consider getting out of there. You might have decided not to take that extra day. But now here you are out there filming it for us. And we do appreciate that. But you're in a situation down there that you didn't anticipate. And so are there any concerns, or has there been any warnings about losing power, losing internet? Is anybody warning about that, or they're not concerned about that at this time?
No, we did hear that we could have power cut at any moment. I did hear that yesterday the cartel was apparently warning that if some of their demands aren't met, that they may enter into private homes. They may start entering resorts and hotels just like this one. So whether or not those cards are still on the table, I'm not sure. Things are relatively calm right now. But as I said, is this just the eye of the hurricane? Are they going to kick this into overdrive like in a day or two from now, make it much worse than what we saw yesterday? It's possible. It's very possible. I hope not, but it's possible. So, yeah, it does seem like things are a little bit calmer now. I think they're trying to get the roads open. They're trying to allow taxis and Uber drivers and buses and things like that to try to make their way to the airport. Flights are probably going to start happening again soon. But again, that could all change just like it did at the flip of a switch the other day. It all just kind of hit everybody, took everyone by surprise. That could certainly kick in again at any moment, really.
Are there any demands? Is there any direction for this violence, or is it just they killed our gang leader? We're just going to create as much chaos as possible? What is the settlement, if any?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. I mean, I haven't had the real kind of time to do a deep dive and really dig into this today, because I've just been trying to figure out my own situation with where I'm going to stay and when I'm going to fly, and then doing multiple interviews all day. So I really do want to delve deeper into this as soon as I get an opportunity to do that, because I'm sure there's a lot more happening behind the scenes than what we're being told about from the mainstream media. Certainly, there's a lot of Canadians here. I'm hearing about Canadians all over the place, and I don't think the Canadian consulate is something anybody around here can trust. I'm sure they're probably backlogged right now and being swarmed and swamped with phone calls and people trying to get them to launch some sort of humanitarian mission to come in and save everybody. But again, you can't look to the government to solve the problems that are created by the government or any of the people who create the problems to solve it for you. And again, this goes to speak to the importance of having community, the importance of networking with like-minded people. Thankfully, I've been in here in Puerto Vallarta meeting some fantastic minds, a lot of great people who have been who I've been networking with over the last few days who happen to live here. And so should things go awry, should things get really, really bad in terms of food and water and who knows what, logistics getting around, I've already kind of made those connections with people on the grounds who know what to do and have the resources and have the places to go. So again, that just tells you, man, you never know when things can go bad, and you always got to be networking with like-minded people and building that community in your area so you can all fall back on each other instead of having to worry about having some government humanitarian aid come and save you, because that's not going to happen.
All right. Well, my last question is about that before we let you go here. So it sounds like, as far as, warnings, say from a government entity or any official capacity, it sounds like there's not much there. Like you're not getting are you getting emergency alerts on your phone? Is anything coming from the hotel in an email or anything like that? Or is it you're just kind of like, all right, here I am figuring it out for myself, getting with the locals, trying to figure out what I need to do to get my stay here before I can get out of here? Is there any direction at all from an official capacity?
Not at all. Not that I've seen. I haven't heard anything from anyone around here. It's all been up to myself to try to figure out what's going on, and I've been doing that through the speakers Telegram group, because as I said, I was invited here to speak at a conference. So they made a Telegram group for all the speakers. And these speakers aren't just anybody. These are people who are much like myself, who are involved in this type of thing. So they have good resources. They have good information. They know how to source good information and sift through the facts from the fiction. So I've been using that as a resource. And going on to Twitter, X as well, interestingly enough, has been a pretty good, source for me, which is why I started kind of posting a lot of my content there first before posting it elsewhere, because I'm finding right now that's a good avenue for getting this out to the world quickly. And so, yeah, I've been using that and the Telegram group and just talking to people on the grounds, because we're not getting anything from any officials around here. There's no alerts. It's not like I can just flip on the TV, and even if I did, I don't think I'd be getting the truth of what's happening here. So it's kind of up to me to figure this out at this point, and I'm doing the best I can.
Crazy stuff there. Dan Dix, our guest. There it is, guys. I didn't follow him back. I've been exposed. So give him a follow like I just did. Dan Dix, PFT on X. We'll be following you, Dan. And I stay safe. I can't tell people to stay safe anymore, because the truth is, if you stay safe, then you're not going to go do your job. So I would just say, God bless you, Godspeed. And I hope that God's protection is over you while you're doing your work out there.
Me too, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for having me on. And I've been getting a lot of messages of support, people praying for us. It's me and my wife here. Again, it could be a day, could be two, could be a week, but we've got the armor of God on us. We do feel we are being protected, and hopefully we'll get out of this soon.
All right. Amen, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. We'll keep you posted on that, guys. Anything else we see or hear. Crazy situation. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised at the lack of any official capacity from warning, but it's also like, it's like, really? You're just kind of out there on your own, huh? Well, I guess that's how it goes. We'll see. I mean, maybe it's just, okay, unleash chaos and then regroup and either get back to work or unleash chaos round number 2. But that's pretty wild to be on vacation and then witness that. U.S. tourists stranded. Yeah. We just talked to one of the tourists stranded. Well, I guess you don't cross the cartels in Mexico, huh? Guess that's the case there, huh? Guess that's why so many people that run for office die. Speaking of people dying, did you guys see this one? Caltech astrophysicist fatally shot on porch of his rural South California home where he studied the stars. This is just like the other famous physicist scientist whose name is skipping me right now. And they wrapped that in all up with that other mass shooting. No, I think that was a hit. I wonder if this is a hit. Do these things just happen consecutively, coincidentally? I don't believe so. An acclaimed Caltech astrophysicist was shot on his porch early Monday. This was last week. A suspect, Freddie Snyder, was arrested and charged with Carl Grillmeyer's slaying, as well as a carjacking and burglary. He's just sitting on his porch and he just shoots him. It seems like they're finding other criminal suspects that just happen to be there around the time and wrapping them up and blaming it on them. An accomplished Caltech astrophysicist with more than 4 decades of research contributions in galactic astronomy and the study of distant planets was fatally shot. So he's just standing on his porch, just randomly shot. And you're supposed to believe it was some carjacker. Again, it sounds like they're just rounding this up to local crimes like they did with the, the MIT scientist a couple weeks ago, too? I have a hard time believing these things are random acts of violence. You know, there's not too many acclaimed astrophysicists, MIT scientists with their level of expertise out there, you know? Maybe what, 100 less, a couple dozen? And 2 of them get knocked off within a couple months. Somehow I'm remaining suspicious about that. Speaking of suspicious, Korea runs landmark pandemic simulation exercise to strengthen outbreak readiness. Oh, boy. A pioneering fictional pandemic simulation exercise is being held in the Republic of Korea. The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations and the International Vaccine Institute, oh God, to explore opportunities to strengthen Korean readiness to rapidly develop and test new vaccines in the event of a future pandemic threat. The tabletop exercise, here we go. Keep going with these government bureaucracies, is the first of its kind to be held in Korea and the region with the government ministries of food and drug safety. A World Health Organization listed regulatory authority and the world-leading Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. Oh, my goodness. It's all very familiar. It's all very familiar, isn't it? We'll keep an eye on that. We'll monitor the situation. Pending home sales dropped to record low in the data from already low levels on big drops in the South and Midwest. Nobody can afford to buy a home right now, so nobody can sell their home right now. Austin is wild. Now, Austin is probably an extreme example because we had the extreme boom, and now it's like the extreme bust. But nobody can afford to buy a home, so nobody can sell their home. I fall into that category. I would have sold my home. I would have liked to have bought a home, but it's too insane. It's just absolutely insane right now. And that's the problem. You know, one of the guys I talked to today, he's like, you know, I'm doing better than ever. I'm doing great financially. I'm doing better, but I can't afford anything in this damn city. I hear you, brother. Taxes are insane. And it's just ridiculous. They say the best economy ever. Screw you. Who are you talking to? And what's crazy is most people can sit here and look at numbers and say, numbers wise, I think I'm doing the best I've ever done. But then I look at the bottom line and I'm bone dry here. I'm bone dry at the bottom of my budget. That's the average American's experience right now. And so you're rubbing it in our face when you go on a campaign trail and you say, we're celebrating our economic success. It's the greatest economy of all time. It's the golden age. We're winning nonstop. No, people are getting crushed and you won't even cut taxes. Gavin Newsom. Oh my gosh. Did you guys see this over the weekend? Let's finish this hour with Gavin Newsom. So he goes down, he's running. You know, he's obviously running. So he goes down to Georgia. He's at a campaign stop, really, an unofficial campaign stop, let's say, in Georgia, speaking to a bunch of black people in Georgia. So, okay, you cater your message to the audience, right? Hillary Clinton whips out a bottle of hot sauce. You know how they do it. AOC, she comes up with a new accent. So this is Newsom. How can I talk to these black voters in Georgia? What can I say to relate to them?
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in. I'm not trying to.
So what's the pitch here, Gavin? You're talking to black voters in Georgia and you're saying, I'm like you, I'm dumb. I can't read no good. Hey, black Georgia voters, I'm going to be running for president down here South way. I don't have my Hillary Clinton accent and hot sauce, but I got something else for you. I'm just like you. I'm dumb. I don't read no good. What? Okay. You know what? It might work, actually. It might actually work. I guess that's why they do it, is they think it works. Now, if you're from the Midwest or from Missouri like me, I don't know. Is 960, I'll look at the chat. Is 960 a bad SAT? We did the ACT in Missouri. So I got a 28, never took it again because I think it was like in Missouri, if you get a 26, you get automatic entry into Mizzou, where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to University of Missouri, Columbia. So I took it once. I got a 28. I was done. So I don't know if 960 is good or not. I guess that's not good. What is like the max SAT? We didn't do the SAT. We didn't do no SAT where I was from down here, Missouri way. We just take that simple old ACT, boy. We take that simple old ACT test, boy. Down here, Southern Missouri way. Saying, oh, they've changed it over the years. But 960 is not good. Okay, so 960, you're not doing very good. Sounds like that's like if you don't get to like 20, it's like if you're under 20 in the ACT, it's like, yeah, okay, you're not really impressing anybody with under 20. If you can get over 20, you're like respectable. If you can get over 26, then you're like, all right, you're probably pretty smart. If you get over 30, you're like genius level. So, okay, I'm just like you. I'm a big dummy. I don't read no good. Does this work for Democrats? Does this actually work for Democrats? I say that I'm not bragging about an ACT score. Like I said, I just had to take it once to get into college. And once I saw it was over 26, it didn't matter to me. I wasn't trying to get into a big fancy college. Over 26, I got a 28 automatically in Mizzou. And that was I was so bad at math. I don't even know if I'm not even kidding you. I don't even think I did the math portion. Dead serious. I don't even think I did the math portion on the ACT. I figured I'd still be able to get a 26 or whatever, and I'd make up for it on the rest. So I don't know, man. I ain't like no Gavin Newsom with no 960. I ain't no smart boy here. It's just, does this work for them? Now, here's something people are pointing out. It's so relatable, right? Here's Newsom in a 1991 article. Oh, I grew up poor. That was his other pitch. That was his other pitch to the black Georgia voters. I'm dumb and I'm poor. Wow, what a racist. I mean, God. Here's Gavin Newsom posing for his Children of the Rich feature that ran in the San Francisco Chronicle in 1991. So he goes down to Georgia. I'm just like you. I'm dumb and I'm poor. What an a-hole. And it turns out that he's actually, he was born into money. But here's one other thing. Newsom says, I can't read, is what he says, right? I ain't reading no good, boy. I ain't no good to read. So here he is just a couple months ago talking about how, wait, can he read or not?
You've written a hell of a book, and I don't say that lightly. I went through it in a quick hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And trust me, I don't read very fast, but it reads at an unbelievable pace. It's so well written. And of course, it's so familiar because I felt a little bit adjacent to so much of the subject matter, but it's 18 chapters. It's an impressive piece of work, 263 or so pages. You've written it.
So he read 300 pages in an hour and a half, but he don't read no good. And I'm not sitting here acting like I'm the biggest reader. I'm not, believe me. I read news. It's like, that's what I do. I read news. I can go through news pretty quickly. It was a bit of a humbling thing. I read like 10 or 12 books in prison, whatever it was. I read the whole Bible. And it was a bit of a humbling thing when I first started reading and writing again, like actually writing letters. Took me like a week or two to get back into the habit of actually writing legibly. And then I remember the first book or two I read, those were the hardest ones to get through. And then you kind of pick it up again. You can speed read and everything. But I ain't like no Gavin Newsom. I don't read no good. I'm dumb and poor. Vote for me. I'm dumb and poor. He's actually probably, well, he might be dumb, but he's definitely not poor. But you know what? It actually works. You know what's funny? It actually works. So, hey, credit to him, I guess. He knows what works, so he does it.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, guys, how much Blackout Coffee did you drink this weekend? Be honest. Be honest. I was on the low end, actually. I only had 3 cups. I only had 3 cups of coffee this weekend. Probably need to up those numbers. And I officially ran out, actually. I did it intentionally. I'm officially out of my double dark chocolate single serve pods now. I'm officially out. So I'm going to have to make my decision here. I'm going to have to make my decision. Which one of Blackout Coffee's more than 30 flavors of single serve pods do I want to go with? I think, salted caramel mocha might be a little too sugary for me. I do like the hazelnut. I think that's what I want to go with. I know they got a hazelnut somewhere. Oh, scrolling through all these. Yeah, the hazelnut cream. I may end up going with the hazelnut cream. I do like that. Leaning towards that with the single serve pods. So get them while they are in stock. They'll be back in stock eventually. Sold out. This stuff moves quick. So if you're into the single serve pods, Blackout back. If you like just brewing your own pot, don't worry. They got you there too. As you can see here, 8 different ones in stock right now. This one just sold out. They got 8 different ones in stock. They got your dark roast, medium roast, and light roast options. My favorite is the pitch black espresso, but the smooth finish has more caffeine in it. So, I'm a sucker for caffeine. I go with that too. And I can't forget to tell you about their premium instant coffee, the best instant coffee out there. And really, there's nothing else that even compares. There's a reason why they call it the premium instant coffee. And by the way, the volume sale is back, ladies and gentlemen. The volume sale is back. 15% off 1 box, 20% off 2, 25% off 3, 30% off 4. Hey, great for your office, by the way. Great for your office. I like it here at home because it's quick. I like having coffee instantly, and there's no better option than Blackout's premium instant coffee. But hey, put a couple boxes of these at your office. You got a bunch of employees, wherever. They're going to enjoy it. Who doesn't want premium coffee instantly? You can only do it with blackout.com/Owen. And right now, if you're listening to this, if you haven't made that first purchase, if you have not tried Blackout Coffee, I've got the offer for you. Coupon code Owen gets you 20% off your first order. You heard that right. Coupon code Owen gets you 20% off your first order at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. They want you to give it a try, because once you do, it's going to be your favorite coffee. It's going to be your official coffee. It is the official coffee of the Owen Report. Blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. First time, use coupon code Owen, and you will get 20% off.
Extra dimensional and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys. Third and final hour of today's transmission. We got a geopolitical stack to get to here. Couple of clips, and then we will get into the super chats as we do at the end of every transmission. We save the super chats for last. That's what we do. All right, Gavin Newsom. Bye-bye, Gavin. This, oh boy, I think it was predictable, but here it is. Official now. Israel will not contribute to Gaza reconstruction. Cabinet minister says they will not be funding the Board of Peace. It would be the more accurate headline. They will certainly be contributing to the reconstruction. They will be building it how they please, but they will not be funding it. As usual, they'll use us to do that. It's typical. Security Cabinet Minister Zeev Elkin announced Tel Aviv has informed Washington it will provide no funding to the Board of Peace's activities, stating we were attacked and see no reason to finance rebuilding. So then why should every other country? Why is Qatar? Why is the United States? Why is every other member of the Board of Peace funding the reconstruction that Israel demolished the entire civilization and now everyone else has to pay for it? Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it? So let me get this straight. The Board of Peace, Netanyahu and Israel sit on the Board of Peace while they're in a 7-front war right now, bombing 7 different countries. They've probably killed at least 100,000 people in the last 3 years, maybe more. Bombed 7 different countries, killed probably about 100,000 people, destroyed an entire civilization, and they sit on the Board of Peace. And they're the only members of the Board of Peace that are not going to be funding the reconstruction, even though they are the ones responsible for the demolition. And they say, we see no need. Have you ever seen a more arrogant entitlement ever from a group of people in your life? So how does that feel, America? How does that feel? You're going to have to fund the rebuilding of the Gaza Strip for Israel after Israel destroyed it. And Israel sits on the Board of Peace while they are trying to start wars with 7 different countries and now Iran. And they just killed 70,000, whatever the number is. And on the Gaza side of things, it's not looking so good either. In Gaza, Trump's Board of Peace met with deep skepticism and little hope. In war-ravaged Gaza, residents question whether Trump's Board of Peace will deliver real safety, rebuilding, or become merely another unfulfilled promise. Oh, don't worry. The promise isn't to you. It's to all of the donors. Don't worry. BlackRock or Vanguard or whoever gets in there and gets the billions of dollars that are going to be stolen from the U.S. taxpayer to rebuild this. Don't worry. The donors and the special interest and the foreign interest will all benefit from this. Not the people of Gaza, not the people of the United States, not the people of anywhere else, except whatever the foreign interest and special interest want. That's how it always goes. That's how it always goes. By the way, this was spotted. This is controversial, apparently. America first, not Israel. And this is a controversial billboard, apparently. Did you guys see that? Controversial billboard. America first, not Israel. That's amazing. So this stuff is not going anywhere. This was a local town hall meeting. This was a local town hall meeting, and they're talking about the laws on the books that are trying to punish Americans for speech against Israel.
20 years imprisonment for Americans participating in boycotts of Israel. Targeting critics of Israel with harsh criminal penalties. SB 87 takes away Ohioans' ability to speak publicly against some of the most horrendous violations of human rights we have seen since World War II. Thus, Ohioans will run the risk of being criminally charged, for example, publicly calling out an apartheid state, which was deemed so by the International Court of Justice. As Americans, we have always taken pride in having some of the most robust free speech protections codified in our First Amendment. If bills like SB 87 are allowed to pass, one of the few bright spots of American rights will be severely undermined in order to silence criticism of a foreign government. Also, please understand this will not stop here. One after another, all of our rights to engage in peaceful dissent can and will be taken away. One needs only consider U.S. Representative Mike Lawler's failed House Resolution 867 of May 2025, which was proposing fines up to $1 million and up to 20 years imprisonment for Americans participating in boycotts of Israel. Such egregious assaults on our freedom will only become more commonplace and brazen. We must not forget that civil rights are not forever, but need to be constantly protected from government overreach.
So these conversations are only becoming more mainstream in local politics, national politics. It's not going anywhere. It's sticking around, and it's only getting louder. The volume is being turned up. It's more expansive. It's on the left. It's on the right. It's independence. Everybody sees it. And it's like you can see that, and then you can see how Israel is acting entitled to your blood, your treasure, whether it's with the war on Iran, whether it's in what's going on with Gaza, and now us funding the reconstruction. Everybody sees it now. AIPAC, you name it. Now, I told you, watch out that Democrats are going to start running on an anti-Israel, anti-AIPAC campaign in the midterms. And so here you go. Now it's happening. This is a congressional debate in Illinois. Cook County is where this is taking place. And so here you go, ladies and gentlemen. As predicted right here on the Owen Report, you're going to see this all midterm session.
I'll never take a single penny from corporate PACs or AIPACs, not now, not ever. But I want to be very clear that there are candidates up here who are bought and sold. Melissa Conyers-Irvin is one of them. And I'll tell you right now, Melissa, you should resign from your post because you have been a horrible city treasurer. And on top of that, you also take AIPAC money, and you are not here to represent the interests of the people that are right before you. In addition to that, Jason Friedman didn't have the courage to show up. Guess what? He's getting AIPAC aligned money as well. And, you know, Anthony, I really like you, but I also know Michael and Kerry Sachs gave you $7,000, and they are some of AIPAC's biggest donors. So I want to know if you're going to return that money.
I'll get you for that.
Okay.
Now, I don't think we're going to find out how much of a winning issue it is in the midterms. I think right now on the left, it could be a winning issue immediately. I think on the left, it could become a winning issue right now in the midterms. There aren't as many Republicans that are willing to go there. The one biggest test case is obviously going to be Fishback versus Byron Donalds. Now, they've agreed to a debate. I believe that debate is going to happen this summer, so that should be a fun one. But the right wing is not ready for it. The woke right is still kind of stuck. You know, Israel fighting anti-Semitism, that's Black Lives Matter for the woke right. That's the big woke right, social justice warrior cause. And they all love to hide behind that because they all take the AIPAC money. They all take the Israeli lobby money. But I anticipate if the Democrats win on that issue in the midterms, then the Republicans will have to adjust. They'll have to adjust at least in some way, shape, or form in 2028, but then in a major way in the 2030s. And I just don't see it going anyway. I don't see it going anywhere else. I just don't see it happening. Meanwhile, in Israel, you've already had, we'll cover the whole waterfront of this. You've already had Israeli Orthodox Jews protesting the draft into the military. Now you have non-Orthodox Israelis that are marching and protesting because they don't want to serve in the IDF, and they're calling their own military genocidal. So you don't see this in Western media for obvious reasons, because you're not allowed to say that here. You get lambasted and attacked for saying that here. But now you have the Orthodox Jews in Israel and the non-Orthodox Jews in Israel that are all saying the exact same thing, and they're all also protesting it in the streets. I wonder, do I have any other stories on that? Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So this had been the protest. Tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jews protest Israeli military draft in Jerusalem. So we have covered this one. And so it used to be mostly the Orthodox Jews, and then you had kind of just more directional protest against Netanyahu of Israelis that don't like Netanyahu. Again, you don't see any of this in the Western media because your media is propaganda that's pro-Israel. So this has all been going on. So now the protest against the IDF and the protest against Netanyahu are both starting to pick up steam. And the local police are not going to be backing Netanyahu or the IDF, by the way. Israeli police tells IDF they will not assist in arrest of ultra-Orthodox draft dodgers. And they wanted to do the same thing with these people that protested Netanyahu. They wanted to do the same thing with these people that are now protesting, the non-Orthodox Jews in Israel that are protesting the IDF. And the local police are not going to be cracking down on them as Netanyahu and the IDF would like. So, you know, it's not so smooth over there. It's not so smooth. Unlike the right wing in the United States and the mainstream media in the United States would want you to think that it's all so smooth over there and they're all in agreement. No, not so much. Not so much at all. Now, here was a crazy development. The Tucker Carlson, Mike Huckabee interview that dropped Friday. A crazy development here. Now, it's been long just kind of accepted that Israel has nuclear weapons, even though that is technically, I don't know if illegal would be the right word, but it's in a violation of a specific treaty, the Nuclear Arms Proliferation Treaty. It's in violation for Israel to have those weapons and still be considered our ally. So technically speaking, you know, there really is no treaty or ally in Israel. And they basically violate the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty by having nuclear weapons and essentially in the official capacity denying that they have any. But Tucker Carlson brings this up with Huckabee, and he doesn't push back at all. He's just like, yeah, everybody knows they have nukes, but they don't have to abide by the laws because they're entitled and they're more important than everybody else.
Israel's nuclear weapons were created, of course, with nuclear material stolen from the United States, from a nuclear plant in Pennsylvania, as I know you know. I'm opposed to all of it. I don't like nuclear weapons. It's mass murder as far as I'm concerned. So no, I don't want Iran to have a bomb, obviously. The question is, what are the potential costs? And you have to factor that into any decision. And
what are the costs if they were to get a nuclear bomb? They've said for 47 years, death to America.
Well, I don't think
they target us.
I don't think
they've targeted President Trump specifically.
Yeah, I mean,
they've hired a person to assassinate
Iran, BBC, and Hamas.
I love that. Oh, they hired a person to assassinate. Where is that intelligence? Where is that proof? It's the same lie where they said these are Iranian drones off the East Coast. A 100% made up false Israeli intelligence report to trick America into hating Iran. Same thing with this. Now, might have Iran tried to do something to Trump? I don't know. I've seen no evidence. I've seen no proof. Tyler Robinson is a ghost, or excuse me. Well, that's a different story. Thomas Crooks is a ghost that somehow magically is able to get on the roof and fire shots. So that's a different thing. He's a ghost. Nobody knows anything about him. And then there's the guy who's in a Florida jail, Ryan Roof, who's connected to Ukraine up one side and down the other. There's no Iran. There's no Iran here, Huckabee. Who does Mike Huckabee work for? Yeah. I can't remember what Tucker clips I played last week. But, you know, hasn't the whole paradigm shifted now as far as geopolitics and foreign policy is concerned with the conversation in the media? Hasn't the whole thing shifted now? And you can make your own decisions, but it's very clear there's a new fork in the road now. There's a new fork in the road when you're looking at this commentary and you're looking at different individuals, different commentators, and where they go on the issue, or you're looking at Mike Huckabee, and there's a new fork in the road, which is, wait a second, Who do you work for? Who do you serve? Are you an American or are you an Israeli? Are you an agent of a foreign country? Why do you spout foreign propaganda? Why do you put Israel's interests first? Why do you tell Americans that Israelis are more important than them, or that they wouldn't even exist without Israel? What are we doing here? It's this new fork in the road. You can't help it. You can't avoid it. Everybody looks at it now. All these people that claim to be MAGA, America first, all this other stuff, and now we just see it's all about Israel for them. It's all about Israeli pro-propaganda for them, anti-Iran propaganda for them. And you just look at it now and you say, wait a second, who are you? You're not America first. You're not an American patriot. Who the hell are you? Since when do you serve a foreign country's interest, or has that always been your case? And now it's just when it's time to play ball. Like, yeah, you posed as a conservative. You posed as a right-winger. You posed as a MAGA hat-wearing Republican. You posed as a patriot. You posed as a free speech advocate, an independent journalist. But now it's the fourth quarter, and we got to get this war with Iran. And now the mask comes off, and we see you, and we say, wait a second. Who do you work for? Whose interests do you serve? Because it's definitely not America's interests. All these things that you pretended to be for all of these years to gain this audience, now we see where you're really directing it. It's this new fork in the road. You can't avoid it. And Huckabee is just one example, and Tucker Carlson totally exposed him. So then the State Department, you may remember, Kirby was asked directly about the Israel nukes, and you can see him go into panic. All the blood leaves his face when it comes up.
Recently come to light an exchange between Jeffrey Leeds and former Secretary of State Colin Powell, in which he acknowledges that Israel has, quote, he says 200 nuclear weapons. And the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty has not been signed by Israel. Under U.S. law, the United States should cut off support to Israel because it's a nuclear power that has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, according to Colin Powell, correct?
Shouldn't you ask Colin Powell that? I'm not going to speak to this particular traffic, and I'm certainly not going to discuss.
Israel doesn't have nuclear weapons?
I'm certainly not going to discuss matters of intelligence from the podium. I have no comment on that.
Okay. Well, the email says the boys in Tehran know Israel has 200, all we targeted on Tehran, and we have thousands. I mean, that seems to indicate that there's a knowledge of an Israeli nuclear program, which would make U.S. aid to Israel illegal.
I think I've answered your question.
Okay. Well, let me ask. Is that do I have the correct understanding of U.S. law that we're not allowed to support a nuclear power that has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty?
Look, we obviously support the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. I'm not a legal expert on all the tenets of it, and I'm certainly not going to speak about the details that you've revealed here in this email traffic. That would be inappropriate for me to discuss one way or the other. I'm not going to do it.
There are sanctions imposed on North Korea in response to their nuclear proliferation. There were sanctions put on Iran in response to allegations of nuclear proliferation. And now we have this email from Colin Powell saying that Israel has 200 nuclear weapons. Why is Israel not facing any consequence for this?
That's a very colorful way of getting back to the same question you just asked me. But I'm going to refer you back to the transcript when you see it this afternoon to what I said before to your question. Saeed?
You're familiar with this email, right?
I'm not.
Oh.
I have not seen it. I can't speak to the email, and frankly, even if I'd seen it, sir, I wouldn't engage in that kind of a discussion from the podium.
So it's pretty clear. Everyone knows Israel has nuclear weapons. And then the answer to the question is Israel is above the international community. They are above the international law. They are above international standards. So you can ask why. Well, they buy off all the governments, whether it's through Meir Adelson or whether it's through AIPAC. And then just in case that doesn't work, they got a safety net, and it was called Jeffrey Epstein and Mossad and the Maxwell family. And now their new safety net is their AI surveillance and their ownership of the media to protect the narrative. Does that pretty much lay it out there for you? That pretty much put it in black and white? Yeah, I'd say so. And then there's Netanyahu. So as we go now, and we're told we have to strike Iran because they're about to get nukes again. Witkoff warns Iran is a week away from weapons-grade uranium. This was the headline yesterday, and this was Witkoff's statements over the weekend. So Iran is now a week away, guys. They're a week away from a nuclear weapon. Well, this was last year. Remember with the Iran strikes? This is what they told us. This is what they told us last year. White House says Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a couple of weeks. It has everything it needs to do so now. So we did the strikes, and we, quote, obliterated their nuclear program. Obliterated it. That was it. No more war needed. Iran's nuclear program obliterated. Now they could never do it again. And President Trump made sure he said it 1,000 times loud and clear. And now here we are again. So, you know, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. Israel uses its blackmail networks. Israel uses its money to buy off as many governments and assets as humanly possible to gain control of the Middle East for whatever their final agenda is. I guess if all of that fails, they have the Samson option. They'll just blow up the planet with their nukes that they're not supposed to have, that they get to have anyway because they're above the international law, above the international community. They are the chosen ones by their own teachings, by their own admissions. So they're above us all. But this has been their lie. This has been their lie for 30 years. For 30 years. And I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. The American people are done being held hostage by Israel's lies. We're done being held hostage by Israel's nukes. We're done being held hostage by Israel's lobby. We're done being held hostage by Israel's blackmail. We're done. The only problem is, now that they realize we're done, what are they going to do to us? Are they going to Palestine the whole world? Are they going to Palestine the entire Middle East for greater Israel? What are they going to do? Are they going to start World War III? What are they going to do? Here's their big lie. For 30 years, Netanyahu directly, their big lie.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
If not stopped.
30 years of lies from Benjamin Netanyahu. 30 years of lies. And now 3 years of total death and total destruction. And you have to pay for the whole thing, America. You have to pay for the whole thing. And now they want regime change in Iran, and you're going to do that, and you're going to pay for that too. And this is the big moment. Quite frankly, this is the big moment. The American people are sick of the involvement in the Middle East. They're done with it. They don't want this war with Iran. They're done with it. We just did the strikes. We were told that's it. It's over. Now here we go again. They're done. And I'm telling you, and I think everyone knows it in D.C., by the way. I think everyone knows it in D.C. I think all the Israeli lobbyists know it. I think all the Israeli assets in the media know it. They all know it. This is the big thing. If they pull this off, and without a single congressional vote, and without any support from the American people to bomb Iran, if they pull this off, folks, I don't know where it goes in the foreign policy discussion. I don't know where it goes in the geopolitical discussion, but it's going to be so bad against Israel. It's going to be worse than you've ever seen. And it's going to be so bad against Trump. It's going to be worse than you've ever seen. And everybody can sense it. That's why they haven't done this yet. That's why Trump tried to have his cake and eat it too when they obliterated Iran's nuclear program, because it was like, all right, maybe we can cut that. Maybe we can hit that window and do it, but not fully do it and keep everyone happy. Israel will never be happy. In Netanyahu's eyes, in Mossad's eyes, in Israel's eyes, they own you. Okay? You work for them. Your tax money, your military, your blood and treasure, it's all theirs. And they've been used to this for 30 years. And they've been pushing this in Iran for 30 years. I'm not so sure the global community is going to be so kind about it. I'm not so sure Russia and China are going to stay out of it. I'm not so sure Pakistan and India decides where they're going to land on all this, but they'll probably get involved. And I saw this whole breakdown of where they think it'll all end up. And they said, well, it'll be Israel and America and NATO and the UK versus China and Russia and Iran and then other assets. I'm not so sure the UK will be on our side on this deal, to be perfectly honest, folks. And how embarrassing will that be when the entire international community, by the way, you just had Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and others condemn again what Israel is doing in Gaza, condemn them again for not paying their Board of Peace funds. How embarrassing is it going to be when the entire planet looks at Israel's current regime and says, okay, this is the biggest evil. We're not supporting you. And then here's America with our corrupt, satanic, pedophile protecting government, the only ones left at the table. And they're going to look at you and say, belly up, go fight, go die. Oh, it's not going to be Lindsey Graham going. It's not going to be Randy Fine going. Mark Levin won't be sending his family to go over there and fight. No, it'll be the poor American. It'll be the middle-class American expected to fight and die again and pay for the whole thing as our country collapses and as the average American is going into debt that they can't even get out of. How embarrassing is this going to be? How embarrassing is it going to be? How bad is it going to be for Israel if they do this? How embarrassing is it going to be for Donald Trump if he lets them do this? It's all on the line now. It's all on the line now. And there'll be no doubt. There will be no doubt if they get us to strike Iran again. There will be no doubt if we watch our military again get used in the Middle East for foreign interests again. And you're also, in a separate way, but I think it's very relevant, you're also watching people realize that 9/11 was a big lie. They don't trust the 9/11 narrative anymore. That was a total inside job. It's going to be the most embarrassing moment of America's foreign policy. It'll be worse than the Ukraine debacle. It'll be worse than the Afghanistan fallout. It'll be worse. It'll be worse because they won't be able to claim a mistake. No, it'll be the big moment where it's, wow, our government really is totally corrupt. Our government really works for foreign interests and for foreign countries. That's really it. That's the bottom line. There's no wriggling out of it. It's over. And that's why people are going to say, I don't care who wins. Democrat, Republican, doesn't even matter. Our government is literally owned by foreign and special interests that steal our money and use our military like it's their own. Nothing else will matter politically if they do this. Nothing. And I'll tell you right now, too. Don't think that this MAGA fallout and this MAGA disenfranchisement and this MAGA demoralization, don't think that this is just limited to people in America that are just doing political commentary or following politics. Believe me, this extends to the military as well. Oh, I guarantee you, if they do this, or like, for example, the USS Gerald Ford, that they're extending their mission right now for Israel's interests. They've been out there for 8 months, literally on a steaming ship of shit. Oh, believe me, morale is going to shift. Attitude is going to shift very quickly. Very quickly. And I guess for Trump, he just doesn't care. Same to MAHA, F you. MAGA, F you. And he's got enough yes men around him. And he's got enough people that are just trying to ride this out to the end and not deal with the flack until then. But I'm telling you, that will be the big moment if they do it in Iran. If they actually do it, it'll be the big moment. Now, I'd like to think that Trump has enough wherewithal that we can trust him not to start a larger war, but I'm not sure anybody trusts him anymore. I'm not sure that the past standard of communication and trust that Trump engaged in with the global community, I don't know if that's still there. I don't know. I'm not sure if Putin and Xi Jinping, I'm not so sure they look at this situation the same now. I'm not so sure. But I guarantee you, the morale fallout, the disenfranchisement fallout, if they do this Iran war, is going to be beyond catastrophic. You can't even measure it. And with the backdrop of the Epstein files, and with the backdrop of everything we're learning there and the total cover-up, and they're not even going to arrest a single co-conspirator here? That's wild, man. That is just wild. Well, Israel needs some good press. You know, Israel needs some good press. So maybe the Olympic team there can, Israel's 4-man bobsled team disqualified at Milano Cortina Olympics over false declaration. Oh, they submitted inaccurate information to justify a last-minute lineup change, and so they got disqualified. Man, just can't find any good press, huh? That's brutal. I like Jesse Ventura's idea. You want to stop all these wars? This policy from Jesse Ventura would do it overnight, I guarantee you.
You know what I've always said? You know how you got to vote to go to war, supposedly? I've always said we should pass a law that when Congress votes to go to war, someone in their immediate family has to begin immediate military service. If they vote yes to go to war, then someone in their family, because I'm sick and tired of the Vietnam stuff. You know what I've always...
Yeah. If the people that voted to go to war had to go themselves or send one of their family members, how many of them would still vote? How many? Probably none. Definitely not enough. Definitely not the amount of votes that they need. I don't know if the number would be 0, but it would definitely not be enough to cross the threshold to go to war. Isn't it amazing? And that's why they avoid the vote. That's why they just do it without voting now. Oh, man. You know, I've never considered myself an accelerationist. And I saw some people responding to that viral clip on X saying it's basically accelerationism. I don't consider myself an accelerationist. I don't. But I see that that's the only way this is going now. I mean, we're not getting America first. That's not happening. We're not getting the real MAGA agenda. It's simply not happening. So it's not even that I am an accelerationist. It's just everything that is happening right now is causing accelerationism. So it's not like I don't support it, but it's like, what do you think is going to happen? Another war in the Middle East. What do you think is going to happen? More strikes on Iran. What do you think? How is this going to go when the average American continues to struggle to get by? And the backdrop of the Epstein files and all the corruption, and you've got nothing. You've got the FBI director, chugging beer with the Olympic hockey team. It's a joke. It's a damn clown show in D.C. It's a clown show, corrupt joke. So no, I'm not an accelerationist. I'd rather do this with good policy and turn things around. But yeah, I mean, if this is the direction they're going to go, you're going to cause accelerationism. You're going to cause radical elements of the left and the right to align on basic things like getting foreign interest and special interest out of politics. And both sides will have to sacrifice. And they'll say, fine, whatever. You'll have sacrifices on immigration. You'll have sacrifices on leftist culture and a bunch of different stuff. And they'll just say, look, we got to figure this out. We've got way too much foreign influence. We've got way too much special interest lobbying. This has to stop. We don't even have a government that works for our interests. We're sitting here bickering over left and right issues. The government is giving us a middle finger with both the left and right hand. So we're over here. It's like, we got our issues on the right. We got our issues on the left. Oh, we're battling back and forth. We're voting. We're switching every second election cycle. It changes power. Meanwhile, the entire government, right hand, F you. Left hand, F you. That's what we get from the government right here. So we're just done. So I'm not an accelerationist. What else are you going to do? Our government is entirely corrupt. It's gone. And Trump was like the last chance of, okay, maybe we can vote someone into power that's not going to sell us out. Maybe we can vote for a president and give him the party rule in the Senate and the House, and maybe we can actually save this country policy-wise. And here we are, and it's the same thing. Bing! Right to the American people. Bing! Here comes Netanyahu again. Bing! Sorry, can't do mass deportations. Big business needs it. Sorry, can't cut the glyphosates. Big Ag needs it. Sorry, can't cut the artificial. Sorry. Bing, 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 bing. We're done. Like, it's over. The government is cooked, man. They're all gone. We tried. I don't want to do accelerationism. I don't want to see a collapse to rebuild. Well, where else do you go? Where else do you go? If you're going to get more strikes on Iran for Israel than Epstein pedophile arrests, where else are you going to go if you get more foreign aid than you do arrests for waste, fraud, and abuse? Where are you going to go when you got special interests that work with the Trump family to all enrich themselves with the White House and they just stop Doge? Where? Where are you going to go? What other option do you have? You're going to vote for the left that's going to give you one of these? You're going to go for the right that's going to give you one of these? Or are you going to pick up your own to the government and say, hey, how about these then? So, hey, that's not accelerationism. That's the result of all of this. That's where all of this is going. And I love this idea too. Like, oh, like somehow a political commentator has more influence than the president. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, if you don't support Trump, we'll lose the midterms. Oh, really? I have more influence than the president? Wow, thanks. I really appreciate that. No, it's the president's policy that's going to cost the midterms. No, it's the GOP that's going to cost the midterms. It's not Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes or Owen Schroyer or whoever you want to put in here and blame them for telling the truth. No. It will be the policy and the lack of results from the White House and from the GOP. And you all know it. You all know it. You're just covering it up because you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed at what a cuck you've become. You're embarrassed at what a sellout you've become. And you're ashamed because everybody sees it now and you don't know what else to do. So you just pretend it's not true. Let's move on. By the way, you saw that whole Randy Fine thing about protecting dogs? That's funny. Make sure to protect pets and street animals on Lag Baomar. The Ministry of Environmental Protection's Animal Welfare Department has published guidelines for the protection of pets on the eve of the holiday, during which it is customary to light bonfires. The MOEP is calling on the public to be vigilant in order to prevent animal abuse. In recent years, an unfortunate and cruel phenomenon has occurred on Lag Baomar Eve. Street cats and dogs are thrown into bonfires alive. This is what happens in Israel. And we also saw that recent trend in Israel where people are just kicking street animals too. But don't worry, Randy Fine is standing up for animals because Muslims don't like them. That's how that goes. Another church was on fire. Southall Fire 70 firefighters tackle huge blaze at West London Church. This happened on Sunday. The church was almost entirely destroyed. An investigation has been launched. I wonder who did this one. It either was a Muhammad or it'll probably be blamed on a Muhammad. Investigation launched into fire at West London Church. Methodist Church in West London, almost completely destroyed by fire. So, yeah, Catholic Christian churches are hundreds of them are being set ablaze. It's barely a story, though. It's barely a story. Well, quite frankly, because Christians are just, they're just kind of weak now. That's the truth. Christians have become so tolerant and so blind to their own destruction. So that's what you get. So it'll continue to happen. Did you guys see this? All right, we're getting into some lighter news now. Let's finish it up. We'll do a little bonus time today. Let's finish it up with some Olympics. A Pee-wee hockey team is in the middle of a hockey game. They learn Team USA wins the gold. They learn Team USA wins the gold. And check this out.
Moments like this, you'll never forget. Everybody just stop what you're doing. Every kids are banging their sticks. That's a USA goal.
So did you guys get up early to watch that game? Where were you? Where were you when it happened? Or were you not interested? I wouldn't blame you if you weren't, but if you were and you saw it, that was something. And then apparently a bald eagle, the Canadians were in such distress, they put their flags at half-mast, and a bald eagle land on top of the Canadian flag in Vancouver. Boy, that is something. You know, I almost don't even want to cover this, but let's go ahead and do it. They couldn't help themselves. Now, I'm sure you saw everybody, all the Israeli interest, all the Israeli firsters are saying, oh, look, the Jewish brothers win the gold. Oh, look, hockey, it's Jewish now. The age of golden Jewish hockey players. These are thousands of these posts. I got a couple examples here. Mike Huckabee getting in on the fun. Oh, look, he's a Jew. Oh, the Jew haters. Here's a list of others that got in on this. What, do they have a list of everyone who's a Jew and who's not? It's a little weird. You got Mark Levin, Aaron Wexler, Shabbos, Kestenbaum, Mark Dubowitz. Are all of them Israeli agents, or what's the deal here? I don't know. So, it's a Jew. So they come out. They have to remind you that. So when one Jewish person, who, by the way, he went to a Catholic school, his mom is like a fourth Jewish or something, whatever. Nobody cares. He's an American patriot. That's why, and he won for the Team USA. So it's just like, it just shows you that this is all these people think about all the time. They're nuts. They're knucking futs. And they do their own cause a disservice when they do this crap. But okay, it's funny. So what is huge? Like, what do you think? Like 5% Jewish or something? And they say, oh, wow, see, all Jews deserve credit. But when Epstein and the whole Epstein list is like 80% Jews, they don't want to take credit for that. Isn't that funny? Then you're not allowed to say it. That's always fun. But no, so they were doing this. These people do not understand how American patriotism works. Look at this crazy one from the Huffington Post. If waving the American flag or chanting USA turns you off right now, you're not alone. So these leftists are literally triggered by the American flag. And then you have this girl that we told you about, Alyssa Liu, who apparently at one time when she was a kid was kind of into the LGBTQ stuff. Not like the other skater that made her entire Olympic personality about how she was pansexual or whatever. So apparently she gets asked, and she says she took all the LGBTQ posts off her social media and says, I was a kid. I don't believe in that stuff anymore. Well, who really knows? Here's what's funny. They come out, they say, the woke right says, oh, you can't celebrate the USA winning because Jack Hughes was Jewish. It's like the woke right This is the woke right. They say, oh, if you don't support Israel, if you're one of those Jew haters, you can't support Team USA winning because Jack Hughes was Jewish. It's like, what? We don't care. We're not anti-Semites. We're not Jew haters. You guys made that up. You guys literally are pathological liars. You made that up. They're like, we're like celebrating USA winning. They're like, but he's a Jew. We're like, so what? He's an American patriot. He just won the hockey game. We love America. We're celebrating with him. We don't care if he's Jewish. They don't get it. Their brains cannot comprehend it because they're literally pathological liars. And then you have the woke left. You can't celebrate Alyssa Liu winning if you're a right winger because she's LGBTQ plus. She's a liberal. And we're like, we don't care. We just love the country. She competed and she showed pride in the country. And so we love America. So the woke right is saying you can't celebrate Jack Hughes. The woke left is saying you can't celebrate Alyssa Liu. And neither one of them get it because neither one of them are patriots. Neither one of them are loyal to anything other than themselves and their special interest causes, whatever they are. Their foreign interest causes, their special interest causes. And then meanwhile, just the average American patriot is just like, hey, I love America. I don't care who you are. I have a foreign policy disagreement. I don't like my government bought out by foreign and special interests. That's all. You're an anti-Semite. You must have hated Jack Hughes scoring the game-winning goal. No, I loved it. It was great. But he's Jewish. I don't care. Oh, you're anti-LGBTQ. You hate liberals. You must have been so mad that Alyssa Liu won the gold. No, I loved it. I was celebrating. It was great. What? I don't get it. I just love the country. She won for the country. These people literally cannot even comprehend it. So Kash Patel gets caught in the locker room. Look, I don't want to make some big thing of this, but let's just be honest about it. It was extremely inappropriate. You know, I don't want to make a big fuss about this because we all want to celebrate. All right. But let's just be perfectly honest. This was extremely embarrassing and inappropriate. Kash Patel in the locker room celebrating like he was a player on the team. And look, again, the team, if they invited him and they wanted him in there, okay, I'm not going to make a big fuss of it. It's the team's victory. They won it for the country. We're all happy. Okay, fine. But let's just be honest about it. This like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? You should have said, thank you very much. Maybe I'll stop by. But then to like celebrate and pop the bottles, like, come on, show a little more class, show a little more maturity. That's like schoolgirl stuff. I don't get it. And I will say this. If you would have arrested 30 pedophiles on the Epstein co-conspirator list, if you would have arrested 30 people in a Doge investigation, if you have arrested all the left-wing networks of funding all the terrorism that goes around this country for the last 10 years, if you would have made 100 high-profile arrests of people that are actually destroying our country, then you know what? If you want to go celebrate like that, I'll let you. I'll say, you know what? You earned it. But you didn't. You didn't. And you've got Americans in a Mexico fire. You've got, oh, I thought you guys were searching for, what's her name's mom? Whatever happened to that? I thought you were looking for Nancy Guthrie. Oh, we're dedicated to looking for Nancy Guthrie. I guess not. I guess you're not interested in that. We're about to start war with Iran. You think you might want to, like, figure out where all the different proxy groups have snuck into the border, all the different terrorists that might be in this country. If we're going to strike Iran, how they might act out if we do that, you know. You knew that Mexico was about to make some move on the cartel, maybe do some prep. I'm sorry, but you're the FBI director. So sometimes, yeah, we would have all loved to take a jet and go watch the United States win gold. We would have all loved to do that, but you're kind of the FBI director. And there's kind of mass fraud happening in Minnesota and California and Illinois and New York and Texas. And we're about to strike Iran. There could be proxy groups here. And what happened to Nancy Guthrie? I mean, And you're going to go and blow off your job as FBI director to pop bottles in the locker room, bro? Sorry. That's bad. That's just bad. And to make it worse, apparently when Chris Wray was doing that, he had an issue.
I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum. And then he goes and takes it to the Olympics and pretends like he's part of the winning team. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, bonus time. All right, we go into overtime on a Monday. We go into overtime here on a Monday. We got to get to your super chat, so let's do it. Leading us off, Alfie G. This is a new one? Alfie G. Peter Mandelson arrested. Yeah, we had that in the first hour. Alfie, thank you. Owen Schroyer's wifey. Today is National Banana Bread Day. Well, cook me a banana bread then. Why doesn't my house smell like banana bread? Captain Hard, got to start not supporting anyone who takes AIPAC money. If you're left or right, then from there decide what's best and who deserves your vote. Well, that's definitely the trend for sure. Cornelius Westernmost, I love the Goy sports slop. You went from being the best newsman in U.S. in my mind to being like a family friend a couple months back during the World Series when you touted Bob Gibson as the best MLB pitcher of all time. Well, that's just the true take. That's just the truth that Bob Gibson was the best pitcher of all time. And so we just call it as it is. You know, Cornelius, that's what we do here. Thank you. Welcome to Electric Boogaloo. Mr. Beast is a CIA MK Ultra project to groom and brainwash kids. That's why you never see his vids. He's AstroTurf, and his name is Beast for a reason. You know, there's that weird video going around where he talks about a $70,000 pizza. I give him the benefit of the doubt on that because I think it might have been like this gold flake pizza, but I don't know that. So that's strange. Yeah, and you have this thing like he's the richest person ever in media. I don't know anyone that watches his videos. One time in my life did somebody put up a Mr. Beast video. One time in my life. And I'd say that's the only person or only time I've ever had anybody talk about him or want to watch his videos. So he seems completely AstroTurf. It's all in the eyes. And now I open, you've probably seen this too. If you have Amazon Prime Video, every time you open it, he's at the landing page every single time. And then they force you to watch his show. If something you're watching ends, it runs out of time or whatever, or then it forces you to watch his show. Yeah, it's all very strange. Honestly, you just look at this and it's like how much of everything is just totally fake and totally AstroTurf? How much of what we see and experience is organic at all? Captain Hard, Israel literally sold the cartel guns. They said they delivered to the wrong location. That seems like a coincidence. It's always tied in somehow. Yeah, no kidding. Mark Steele, welcome to the chat, Mark. I used to sell 100 to 150 pounds of marijuana a month. Wow. Soon as the government in Canada legalized it, I was out of business. Legalized drugs and the criminals are out of work. Well, that's what I said. So if you want to get rid of the street gangs and the street drugs, you legalize them all. And it's like, I understand that comes with other costs, but if that's your desire, that's how you do it. These people don't care about soldiers, just war. Absolutely. Pittsburgh bad. Went through plumbing issues with the Navy a few years ago. It cost $400,000 per acid rating for General Ford. It's an ongoing problem since ship was built. Imagine being on that ship now, sitting on a ship full of shit, literally 8 months, 2+ over your 6, and now you're being told to stay out there for Israel. It's not going to go well. I think they want chaos in Mexico to distract us. Certainly not. I don't think that's too far-fetched an opinion. Dust Vault, Jack Hughes is him. That was a lot of fun, man. Best Olympics in ages. It was a good one. It was a good one. I put my final opinions up on some X post. Your arms look fantastic today. Oh, thanks, babe. Just today, though? I mean, you know, come on. Gavin should have pulled out some lean and solo cups. Oh, boy. I already ordered us some more Climax flavor. Okay. Thank you. That's good. Very family friendly. Vanilla Godzilla 420. Ghislaine Maxwell is free in Quebec. Please discuss. I think it's that video. I'm not really buying it. I think it's just happens to be a doppelganger. I don't know. I'm not buying that that's her, but it is certainly strange. Poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Joe Biden, civil rights hero. How do you feel about the Biden presidency right now? I'm getting some weird comments on that. I got to tell you. Iron Lunatic, thank you. Did you see a picture of Enrique Tarrio throwing up the 666 hand sign? No, but he was probably just trolling, so I'm not going to be too concerned with that. Owen Schroyer, wifey, please stream the State of the Union. I love your crash outs. Oh, great. I don't really appreciate that. That's tomorrow night. Ugh. I just don't want to do it. I got to be honest. I gotta level with you guys. It is my job. Okay. This is a total cop-out. I will tell you, this is a total cop-out. I should be live covering the State of the Union. I 100% should be. It's my job. But I got to be honest. I don't want to watch it. It's going to be max cringe factor. It's going to be so heartbreaking to watch Trump go up there and tell us how everything's the greatest of all time. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm the peace president, ended the wars, the board of peace. Like, we got the deportations. No. Greatest economy ever. No. So I don't think it's just, It's like watching the girl you fell in love with who broke up with you make out with some other guy. It's like, I don't want to watch that. You know? I'm just afraid that's what it's going to be like. I don't know why I would expect anything else. I don't know why I would expect anything else. And it's just like, yeah, hey, you know, your ex that broke up with you, that you were heartbroken over, she's going to be at that party with her new boyfriend. They're going to be, you know, licking lips the entire time. I'm like, I'm going to stay home. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we feel tomorrow. A Cuckabee is from Arkansas, the Diamond State. Cuckabee just works so well. Ayatollah Thomas Crooks. Who does number 2 work for? That's it. You show us that. You show that turd who's boss. What movie was that? Well, that would be Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Who does number 2 work for? Tom Arnold. That's it. You show that turd who's boss. There you go, buddy. How do you like that? You got it out of me. Boom Boob Smellovive. Friend of the show. What's the etymology of Iran, Owen? I don't like being backed into these corners. I want nothing to do with any of it. I don't care. How about nothing? How about we just focus on our own issues? How about we focus on our own country collapsing? How about we focus on our own corrupt government? Tay, Israel needs zero medals, yet Israel firsters latch on to Hughes. Because they think it's an own. They think they're somehow owning you. Robert 292. Reopen the insane asylums. You tried to get me in trouble with that. I know you did. Real Emperor Palpatine. You really want to get mad? How many American guys out there are circumcised and not one J1H castrated? No, I'm not going to think about that, so I'm not going to get mad. Ban Israel from Olympics, reinstate Russia. It is a joke that Russia can't compete. And actually, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if the Russian athletes are just not competing because they can't compete under the flag. Or maybe it's some solidarity with Putin. Because you know that the Russian athletes in the Winter Olympics are just, they're a force to be reckoned with. They had this one skater, and a figure skater, Adalia Petrosian. Yeah, Adalia Petrosian. Young 18-year-old ice skater who did, I thought it was the best. I think it was the women's short program. But these judges, so it's all like the judges, and she had like some hiccup on a spin or something. So she got 4th place, but she'll be back. And she did, her short skate was a dedication to Michael Jackson. It was actually, I thought, one of the best. It was one of my favorite moments of the Olympics, her dedication to Michael Jackson, this Russian girl. She'll 100% be back in 2030. And I bet, I'd say she probably podiums in 2030. But then, maybe the judges, they try to rig it so the Russians can't win too. So, but Russia should be allowed to compete. But that just shows how the whole corrupt world is against Putin, really. My token of appreciation to that bald eagle that landed on the Canadian flag in Vancouver. My hero for the week. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Jack Hughes is Jay when convenient, but 90 years... But 90, why when not? Oh, but Goy. Come on, Goyam. 1 of 1K. Posted up on the Charlie Kirk way protesting my rights. They did that, didn't they? I think so. Totally ruined it. I'm getting rid of this avatar. Can we have one thing without woke left ruining it? Not today, unfortunately. Gigi Gaziano. Oh, and thank you for bringing us the real news. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's show. The Gui. Hey, Owen, it's hard out here. Me and my girl, we're looking at apartments. Is it better to wait and save for house or rent? We're in the Bay Area. It's crazy. Well, I don't know anything about the Bay Area market. I would say, it's all so convoluted. There's so many different factors that go into it. How much capital do you have? What interest rate can you get? But like right now in Austin, total buyer's market. I mean, total buyer's market. The housing market in Austin has collapsed. But then it's just like, okay, well, what kind of interest rate can you get? What kind of monthly mortgage payment can you get? How much capital do you have to put down at signing? And then everything kind of goes from there. But like I got producer DMT is in St. Louis, and the St. Louis housing market is insane. Like the same house in St. Louis versus Austin, this would blow your mind. The same house in St. Louis versus the same house, as far as quality, square footage, generally speaking, bedroom, it's like 150 grand cheaper in Austin now. 150 grand cheaper. Like flip that 10 years ago, it would have been like 300 grand cheaper. It's more expensive here. It's just the housing market is insane. You have to do so much math to weigh it out. You have to do so much math to weigh out whether it's worth buying a house. I would say you would rather own. You would rather own hoping you can get equity. And there's other things that come along with owning a home that are beneficial too. But it's like you have to measure it out, the monthly payment you would be making in rent versus a mortgage, and how long you intend on owning and all these other factors. So it's not such an easy game now. They've rigged the housing market. The housing market is it's so corrupt now. It's like, yeah, you really have to weigh whether or not you want to buy. It's that corrupt. Armine Hasotori, Iranian here. The issue is not just U.S.-Israel. Some diaspora Iranians are begging Trump to attack Iran so they can install their beloved prince in exile. He went to Israel and kissed the wall. Yeah, I saw that. And now the exiled princess is speaking up. I was just like, I don't, like, why? If Iran wants to do it, take care of it. If Israel wants to do it, take care of it. Leave us out of it, please. Like, I just want nothing to do with it. If Israel wants to do this and launch their plans for Greater Israel or conquer Gaza, whatever, go for it, Israel. I'm not in your way. I'm not stopping you. I'm done. I want nothing to do with it. You're not going to take our money to do it, and you're not going to use our military to do it. Simple. That's it. But see, that's the big catch. They won't do it without us because they need us to pay off all of their neighbors in foreign aid. They need our military to do it, and they need our money to do it. That's the catch. So we're sitting here stuck again. Nikita Kucherov missing from Olympics is criminal. Shirley Maldo, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Heal the world. We are the world. We are not alone. And well, that would be Michael Jackson. Gigi Gaziano. I have not missed one single show. Mia Moore. Thank you. Thank you, Gigi. We appreciate you. By the way, on the Michael Jackson front, you know, these kids, they have no idea. Me and one of my older buddies at the gym, you know, we play basketball with some of the college kids, some of the high school kids. And you know what they were saying the other day? They said that Michael Jackson is basically like Usher or R. Kelly. Oh, my God. Michael Jackson is like Usher and R. Kelly combined times 1,000, maybe. And they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Yeah, well, what are you going to do with these kids anyway? All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We love you. Thanks for all the super chats. One more thing before we go, since it is the time, since it is in season, owenschroyer.store, guys, owenschroyer.store. Don't forget, we had it first. I've got my shirt on today. This is the updated version with the shield, though. Mine doesn't have the shield, so we updated it on the site. The USA Shield Edition shirt, owenschroyer.store. Get it while it's hot. Everywhere else is out of stock. Literally, they're all out of stock. I tried to get one of the jerseys. They're all out of stock. All the USA hockey stuff, it's all out of stock. They do this every time, too. So you can get yours at owenschroyer.store. There it is. That's going to do it for today. God bless. Godspeed. We'll see you tomorrow.
My pretty countryside had been paved down the middle by a government intent on fucking up this whole country.